The life force of your bond. A power like life itself. Unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of DYAD in the Force, episode 215, the one about Star Wars Celebration Day 1, and of course, Mask of Fear. We'll get to that. But, Choco, what's going on in the world of Star Wars?
I mean, woo, we got a lot going on. It is celebration time, and, we celebrate good times come on. We got... Oh man, there's just news all over the place. Before we even jump into it, let's go ahead and introduce our other guests here. We have some beautiful people from Podwan's podcast. If you'll introduce yourself, we'll go to Luke first.
Hi guys, I'm Luke, Jedi Master Eggs on TikTok and the Podwans on all social medias. Here to talk some celebration and Mask of Fear.
All right, and Chase?
Yeah, my name is Chase. I'm at Forward Into the Black on most social media. You could find me also with Luke on the Podwans podcast. And you can also find me on AJ at the Dork Place on that podcast Wednesday mornings talking about mostly video games, but sometimes other stuff.
Very nice. You got a morning show?
We have a morning show.
Chase in the morning. Forward into the dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the chat. I'm a spooky kitty. Hi, Star Bros. Master James Kenobi says, privileged to be a part of it. And Talon Card. Hello there. Yeah, a lot of things are happening at this very moment in Japan. Celebration continues. And there's been a lot. Obviously, the first thing on everyone's minds is, well, I don't know if it's the first thing on everyone's minds, but the first thing we're going to talk about is Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling, and we're going to have Sigourney Weaver in the movie too.
Yeah.
They are officially in pre-production of Starfighter, and it has a soft date of May 7th, 2027.
Sorry, Sigourney Weaver's going to be in the...
Yeah, he's in Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
That's why I have you guys.
But Ryan Gosling, if you got to pick someone that's going to look like a fighter pilot, that's a great choice to go to. My go-to choice would be Chase, but how you feeling?
I posted like a 9-minute video on TikTok about this. I have a lot of thoughts, and I don't want to sound like I'm not excited, but I have so many questions about this project that it's almost stifling the excitement that I think I would have if they would have just gotten up on stage and said here's a trailer for Rogue Squadron, here's the thing, because that's very familiar. I think it's very interesting and exciting that they're setting this after episode 9. My biggest question is who's the primary antagonist? Is this in the video I posted? My top 3 candidates were the remnants of the Final Order, the crime syndicates, or Scion Fleet Systems themselves, as a private military corporation, because the main starship manufacturer of both the Empire, First Order, and Final Order, clearly the bad guys here, just continually funneling that war machine. I'd like to see what they could do with that. But we don't know. The other fourth option is a totally new thing that surprises us, which is more exciting, honestly, for me, is just to get a more expanded lore, making that galaxy even bigger. But yeah, I do I want Top Gun in space? Do I want a more nuanced story about what do fighter pilots do when there's no more war left? Kind of what we've gotten with the clones in the past, just putting that towards pilots, there's so many possibilities. And I have all the faith in the world in my beloved Noah Calhoun to handle this properly.
Beautiful.
Right on. I mean, I didn't make a video about it, but I was just watching the stream all night. It's difficult when the time zones are that far apart.
Yeah.
It starts at 6 p.m. and most of the announcements happen kind of early in the night into the morning. I mean, I was playing Shadows with the stream on the second screen, and things were popping off like all night. And this is very exciting for me. I think well, I did a little thing. I'm gonna put it on the screen. It's our thumbnail, but it looks kind of jank, but
Hey, that's not a bad look.
it's not a bad look.
He's flying the wrong ship, but I'll give you props.
Wait, he's flying the wrong ship. What are you talking about? We haven't seen his ship, have we?
They showed something that showed a new type of ship that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, my hope is the T-85 gets a real world rendition. I'm gonna assume 65s are. Maybe we get a Top Gun Maverick moment where he hops in a T-65 at the very end.
Finds a defunct one.
Yeah, and it's just like he's with some hotshot rookie that's used to the T-85 and its little iPad baby controls, and he's like, nope, none of that, bucko. We don't need targeting computers where we're going.
You ever hear of Luke Skywalker? He didn't need a targeting computer. Come on. No,
Wow.
I'm excited.
It's
Interesting to think. It's interesting to see Ryan Gosling be, because I would never of all the actors that I could think of, I wouldn't have thought that he would have been in Star Wars. You know what I mean?
He's so talented. He's one of the most talented working actors right now. By a pretty far margin. He's so incredibly talented. But yeah, honestly, the thing that I'm most excited about with this movie, there's a timeline. There is a plan. There is, this is when it starts filming and this is the release date. Said on stage, confirmed. Will they hold to those dates? We'll see. But this is more than we've really gotten from other projects. So I like this new plan of this is what we're doing. We have a plan of action set in motion, and committing to Mando and Grogu coming out in the same time next year, and then having Starfighter, I'm sorry, come out in 27 the same time. So the fact they're starting shooting in the fall, that's already been set. This is great to hear.
Did they give us a date for Starfighter?
May 27th, 2027.
Yeah.
So it's around the 50th anniversary of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, this is pointing more and more towards Anaheim. That's where it's. I have a feeling that's where it's going to be.
I think it is. I think
because they'll
that's
put
gonna be right.
well, they'll have it the weekend. They'll have it that weekend.
I was telling DePaul that should A New Hope be screening at the Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, I will fly down and I will come see you guys so we could all watch it together. $100 a ticket. I don't care.
I think it makes the most sense for it to be in Anaheim. As much as I want it to be in Florida, it just we'll probably get it in 2030 or whatever. But in 2027, it's the 50th anniversary of A New Hope, where it's that Memorial Day weekend type of area right there. I think that's probably going to be a good set. For
Hey,
them.
if you
But-
get a 1099 towards any of the content creation that you do, you can write off that plane ticket.
Disney's also kind of, at least they were beefing pretty hard with the state of Florida. So I'm curious if that could also play a factor.
Now this is something that I wanted to touch on because we discussed it, or at least I was chatting up a storm in the Podwans chat yesterday. Mm-hmm. I my day one reaction is Cornhorn stand-in, like
Sure.
a starfighter pilot that ends up being force sensitive. He doesn't know about it. It obviously not actually Cornhorn, but like, you know, one of the like catalysts that I was talking to Darius, our good friend Dagovir. Would be awesome to just watch an entire movie where he's just a pilot, and then at the very end, when things are resolved, he just happens to like mind trick somebody, and he doesn't know it happened, but it's just like one of those things that just happens.
And then it leads
Let's
into, and then
please
that's
do
how
it.
it leads into the Ray movie.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, these projects are being touted as standalones, but at the same time, I get the feeling that what they're doing, which is something that we've been saying for a long time, is getting rid of trilogies and just doing movies that are connected like the MCU, where they're standalone movies. But since they're canonical to the universe, they can pull from it and lead from it, regardless of whether it's within a saga, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
like, even in New Jedi Order, it doesn't really connect to Starfighter, but if Gosling happens to be force sensitive, then there's that option that he shows up.
I think I think there's definitely validity in that theory, and I think there's a very strong possibility that something like what you just described happens. I'm still hoping it doesn't. I want the character to be able to have a compelling story and a great character arc and character growth, and show that regular people in the Star Wars galaxy, and we've been getting more and more of that as time has gone on.
Yeah.
But it is something like, just for me personally, just seeing like that's something that is what I love about Harrison Dula, is how incredibly skilled she is, how great of a character she is. And what I do love is that there is that connection to the Force. Oh, there goes my stupid camera.
Goodbye.
And like, she has that connection to the Force, and that connection comes through Kanan, and she kind of like understands a little bit of the Force through him, kind of in the way we kind of saw with Padme and Anakin. I always joke that like, if Padme were Force sensitive, she would be the chosen one, the right proper chosen one. But no, like, I would love to see, if Ryan Gosling's the main character, the pilot, it would be really cool for him just to have a good story where it doesn't feel like the things that he pulled off, you could kind of accredit to the Force, where it's just him. He's just that skilled, and it's just that compelling to watch him because of how good he is.
I agree. I love, as much as I love Cornhorn, I actually do think a lot of his Force related stuff was kind of ham-fisted. Like, he literally he mind tricks a room full of stormtroopers without knowing that he was Force sensitive, or that was like a thing at all. Mm-hmm. He was just, please go away, and then they're all like, we're just gonna go away, which I don't know, maybe it's a thing, but I am on team, you know, I would love to have him just be him. This is just this dude's skill, and hopefully this new starship that we're gonna see. Listen, give me something where he's like a pilot and they're testing like a new type of ship technology, and then that gets him in trouble. He's got to find his way out and fight his way out. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Luke?
Yes, all of the above. No, when we found that out last night, while we were watching, like, I stopped the conversation because I felt like Chase needed Chase and Kel's got a win last night. Let's just say that y'all won.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Sploosh.
Oh, here we go.
And again, I am excited for this movie. I am excited that we are exploring this facet of Star Wars on the big screen in a big way. Really, the first time since A New Hope. And there is still a part of me that is like, this really shutters the dream of a Rogue Squadron movie. Like, if the movie does really well, sure, we can maybe open that conversation up again. Like, okay, people want to see starships again. But if I look at something like Squadrons, and like, yes, the game had its own problems. You know, you look at the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, and it's like, well, these are good works in their own. They're just, I don't think that starships captivate this newer generation of Star Wars fans like
they don't
it did for me. Like there is no X-Wing versus TIE fighter, not even just a video game, just like a story concept that we really have in the younger generation, and that's fine. I'm okay with that because it is very much moved past the Empire and Rebellion and more towards like this, you know, light side versus dark side in a lot of ways. And that's great, but there's a part of me that has always wanted that dive into whatever era we're really looking at of the Rogue Squadron like story, because the games were so good, the books were so good, the comics were so good, and it would have been cool to have something like that. And I think this is better than just what is Patty Jenkins working on today that is going to abandon this project again. You know, that movie was supposed to come out 2 years ago. And we've heard nothing.
To be honest, I think Kenny's got it right. Maybe Starfighter is Rogue Squadron. They just are changing things up and putting it to a whole new thing.
Well, they never
You know what I
said
mean?
that. So I think it was like a couple of months ago, Patty Jenkins said that she's still committed to it, but there was a lot of scheduling conflicts, so they never canned it.
Yeah.
No, it's always been in this like Occam's razor of like being a thing or not. It's just, I think that it's one of those things that if this movie does, like I said, if this movie does well in 2027, that opens a pretty wide door for a follow-up movie in the same vein, in like a Rogue Squadron movie. But if it doesn't do well, I think that makes that opening far more narrow for a Rogue Squadron movie to actually happen. I don't know what my computer's doing, but it's liking that main menu screen for my phone. But no, it's you're right. It's not canned, but it doesn't have any progress in the same way that Starfighter does. So I think all of my excitement was used up by Rogue Squadron. So having Starfighter is like, it's like, it's cool. And like I said, the most exciting thing about Starfighter is the plan. That's the most exciting thing to me. It's like, it feels like this is actually happening. Who knows? 6 months from now, they'd be like, oh yeah, scheduling conflicts with, they're doing the Barbie cinematic universe, and now Ryan Gosling's no longer available. Like it's getting canned. Who knows? But yeah, like I am excited. We would be having a much different themed conversation if this were Rogue Squadron, I feel like. But I am still really excited for this movie. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to be excited about other than the fact that it's named Starfighter. It's got Gosling and Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Levy, yeah.
Because we don't know too much about it. We know he's a pilot. We know that they showed bits and pieces of a starship.
Yeah.
But I wanted to touch on the marketing aspect, because that brings me back to the original theory. You know, as much as we lobby and clamor for regular people, the Force is indelibly part of the Star Wars DNA. And if we look at the marketing for this, if we look at what's gonna, draw box office, there's gonna be either hints of Force sensitivity, or there's gotta be a lightsaber in there somewhere.
Yeah. I do wonder if things like Rogue One and Andor have pivoted that a little bit, not entirely, but just a little bit, where having that more grounded experience is a little more relatable for a lot of people, especially in just like the world we live in today. That feels a little bit more grounded in reality. 'Cause like, if we look at the reception of something like Skeleton Crew and Andor versus like Kenobi, Ahsoka, and Acolyte, and we can compare and contrast every show and its ups and downs, pros and cons. I do think the more grounded shows have been better received recently. And I think that's why Mando was so successful. I think overall the Force-focused shows, if I could trademark that, seem to struggle with the audience a little bit more recently. You know, general audiences and you know bigger fans and stuff like that. Not that these shows are bad, not that these shows, the writers aren't doing really good work here, but just from what I see from an outside perspective, I think it's flipping that other direction where the grounded stuff is more accessible and enjoyable for the audiences.
Also, with that, I think from the marketing standpoint, that's one of the reasons why you go for a Sean Levy and you have Ryan Gosling. I mean, I think their star power, you know, the guy that brought you Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, I don't see it as being necessary in order to sell it, but it's going to depend on what we get. And yeah, we didn't have, you know, Grogu's force sensitivity wasn't the forefront of the Mandalorian until later,
just recently.
So yeah, I could see it, and I'm hoping to keep them separate because we are still getting that Mandalorian and Grogu. We are still getting things in that vein. I like, you know,
I wouldn't say so
variety of flavors.
To just speak on the marketing aspect of it, because it's a different beast than our feelings, right?
Sure.
I wouldn't say it's necessary for them for Star Wars within our own feelings. I love Andor. I love grounded stories. I love the Alphabet Squadron. But if we look at the larger casual fan experience, if we look at the crowd at Celebration, they all have lightsabers. And it's just something from the standpoint of a brand marketing manager who's looking at what draws the crowd, because we're talking about TV shows, and if you think about The Mandalorian, the most watched and repeated scene, whether it's Luke Skywalker or not, is a Jedi moment, you know.
Sure, that's fair.
And
Yeah,
I wouldn't be disappointed if he's not force sensitive. My theory hinges on the fact that within the context of this release cycle, within the context of them building a galaxy past the saga, in which the movies exist are Dawn of the Jedi and New Jedi Order, it behooves them to do some world building. In an effort to either tie in or connect to Dawn or connect to New Jedi in some way, shape, or form. It could very well be that Gosling isn't the force sensitive, but he saves a kid that's force sensitive. That could be the story.
He brings them. Yeah, he brings them to Rey. Yeah, that could be it.
That's just the initial theory. The main premise I'm trying to put forth is that there's going to be the force in it somewhere.
I could see that. I could also see kind of, not that I don't want it to take away from another character, but if, you know, what if Ryan Gosling was a TIE pilot at the Battle of Exegol? And this is the story of, you know, it's what we have seen before, you know, in other characters and in books, where it is the, you know, he fought at the battle. Yeah, he fought at the Battle of Exegol in a TIE fighter, and now he's trying to help rebuild. You know, he realized he was wrong, and you know, whatever that story may take, whatever direction, it's like now he wants to help rebuild the New Republic again. You know, we can. That's I think the really exciting part about stuff like this. It's, you know, it's the pros and cons of having next to no context for this stuff, is we can get really excited about an infinite amount of possibilities that can formulate to make this project really good and really special. But it's also like, I'm just excited to be surprised by this movie. And like, as much as I will be theory crafting and thinking of my own scenarios that could make this movie great, walking into that theater and being surprised and you know, pleasantly surprised is the biggest hope of all.
I mean, for me at least, one of the things that got me really excited was Sean Levy saying that he was happy that he gets to play in a playground, kind of by himself. Right? He's not. This isn't going to be relying on the connections. So, the fact that he said that. And yeah, it does behoove them to make, it's just going to connect in this overall universe.
Sure.
That shouldn't
Absolutely.
be the goal. And I hope to God that they're not letting a brand manager choose what goes in the story, because it would appeal to more people, because that would mean that we're cooked.
Well,
Whatever his dream is, whatever his artistry is, I want him to see out that vision.
Well,
No.
you have to think about the context of that quote, because it goes back to a Variety interview where he specifically talks about it not being constrained to existing lore. He didn't say that it's not going to be connected in any way to the.
Oh,
to the
and
galaxy.
he didn't say it was going to be connected, but he was happy to be in this area by himself.
that it's not going to be like a prequel or a sequel. Is that what you're
Yeah.
meaning, Brandon?
Yeah.
Like that comment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So-
I think
so-
is kind of important.
Yeah, something that can pull from or be pulled from in the future, I think is important
Exactly.
as like kind of like almost a hub that you can spoke out of. Like I think that is a good starting point for a new IP like this. Kind of what we got with Rogue One.
Yeah.
Where well, no, it's not like the start of this whole connected universe, but it's something that like we got Andor, we got connections through the Bad Batch, we got connections into Rebels and stuff like that. Like we got lots of stuff that can
Intertwine.
yeah, they can pull from stuff, and then whenever they're working on new projects in the future, that you can say, oh well, in Starfighter, this whole new concept was introduced, and we'd like to broaden that, because this is also, with it being in a post Rise of Skywalker galaxy, like a post Battle of Exegol, I've had some intellectually challenged individuals in my comment section on some of my videos about the First Order. And while I stand by that, I think the sequel trilogy showed us more of the ruthlessness of the First Order than the prequels did with the Separatists and the originals did with the Empire.
Absolutely.
There are gaps in the story of the First Order and the Final Order, and it would be amazing to build upon that in the same way that like our understanding of the Empire pre-Phantom Menace was so different from reading the books and playing the games. Like what was going on with Prince Shizor and like all the bounty hunters and stuff like that, and Grand Admiral Thrawn, like that was a whole other world we explored, and I would love to start to see this. We've gotten it with Resistance. We've gotten a little bit in Mando, where we're starting to explore more elements of the First Order, and I would like to see them, since it's post Exegol, let's explore the First Order. I'd say more specifically, let's explore the Final Order a little bit more, because we didn't get a lot of it. So I think that would be cool.
Did you guys? I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but I just looked down at my phone. Ahsoka starts filming next week. Guess that's the news. Part of it.
Nice.
And I mean that panel's later tonight at like midnight. So crazy.
I'll be watching it. So
One of the scenes takes place in the Star Wars Celebration. They actually filmed today.
yeah.
Guys, we just hit record, but we have something for you guys.
Hey, guess what? Yeah, guess what? Y'all are in episode 1 of Ahsoka. Everybody say hi. Here's your residual checks for like 5 cents.
Shot on a Google Pixel, right? I think Disney and Google are in cahoots.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me.
But the other piece of news coming out of Celebration Day 1 was from animation.
Oh,
And we had Sam Witwer and Athena Portillo on stage to reveal what I've been dying for ever since we saw him come back in season 7. I was like, oh, we need to see Kira with Crimson
Meebert
Dawn.
Gascon. I am so excited.
shut your mouth.
I was like, we need to see Kira with Crimson Dawn, and we need to see Maul with the Shadow Collective, and we have Maul, Shadow Lord, and that's the next animated project. How excited are you guys?
Can we just talk about how security in Japan is shit? Because there's been that trailer is leaked, the Mando Grogu trailer is leaked. Like literally,
There's
people
leaks
have
in
been
every
having their phones out.
celebration.
No,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah,
I feel like this year is more significant than the last two.
I wouldn't say that.
No, there was way more leaks last time. I know because I wasn't there, but I watched all of the trailers on the leaks. They were a lot more easily accessible, I would say. But one thing that is cool about this, and something that I've kind of been saying, so in the Big Red Book, that's where people were getting, this is George's idea for the Star Wars sequels, which is not what his treatment that he gave to Disney was about. But yeah, he did talk about an idea that he had where it was Maul running his crime syndicate and Darth Talon was part of it. There was, the Empire still had stormtroopers who still wanted to keep fighting, and he was saying it was like in the Bush era, I'll have to get the exact words that he said, but it seems like that is largely the story that they're trying to tell. What we got with the sequel trilogy really exists when you look at that George Lucas idea. What the sequel trilogy is really the continuation of that story. So I think it's cool that we'll get that plopped kind of there in the middle.
Yeah, not to make
Talon
it.
was wearing clothes though, and I think that confused a lot of people.
They made Darth Talon woke. I can't believe it. I'm out.
He's wearing that woke pants.
Oh, disgusting. No, I am, as a person who has grown up on Star Wars for as long as I can remember, I will be excited for every Star Wars project that is announced, from Starfighter to Young Jedi Adventures to Maul. I, as someone who just struggled to resonate with the Clone Wars and did enjoy the Bad Batch quite a lot, I am very ready to move past this animation style and this era of storytelling with these characters. I'm going to watch it, and I'm hoping that it is good and entertaining in the same way that I was not itching to watch The Bad Batch because I'm like, this is just Clone Wars Season 8. I'm ready. Here we go. And I was so pleasantly surprised by The Bad Batch and how good it was. But, yeah,
Shout out to Young and Danielle and all of the Bad Batch girlies.
Bad Batch is better than the Clone Wars. I have no problem saying that.
It's certainly a lot better written.
Yes,
it's a lot better written. Yeah.
But I definitely understand being more entertained by the Clone Wars, depending on what you're into. But the thing that I really liked about the Bad Batch was it was a new side of this story in an era and a thing that we don't really focus on. This Maul Shadow Collective
100%.
is, I feel, going to be that. We're going to spend more time in, probably at least, in Mandalorian space. Does this mean we'll see a perspective of the Night of Thousand Tears? Does this mean there is a lot of interesting and underworld connections? Are we gonna see Prince Caesar in here and what they're doing?
I mean, it comes hand in hand. It comes out hand in hand with not hand in hand, but in the same window as Tales of the Underworld.
Don't we know that the Night of a Thousand Tears doesn't that happens in between Empire and in Return of the Jedi, correct? That is what Hugh Wang says.
Oh,
that
is right. That is right.
It's in
gonna come
between 5
later.
or 6.
But,
Yeah.
but he had his own Mandalorian faction. What's going on with that? His network was spread through Mandalorian space. Are we gonna get stuff on that?
Sure.
We don't know a lot about this whole criminal underworld, which I think is a really fascinating thing to focus on, especially I can see it being something different enough.
Yeah.
I do wish we were done with the art style, but there's unfortunately, I do feel like there is a large.
There's
there's
too
a
many
portion
young
of the
20-year-olds
audience-
that can't get enough of it.
I would
Yep.
love for
They're
them
not
to
Star
do.
Wars fans; they're Clone Wars fans, and they
Yes.
judge things by how
Yes.
close this is to
Yeah,
the Clone Wars.
I don't think that's fair for, like, because I've been saying that we should get an style clone, like animated show from Lucasfilm, or let another studio do it and Lucasfilm produce it. Like what they've been doing with Visions, like I want
Again, Studio
Naruto
Mir.
style. Yeah, I literally want Naruto styled Star Wars stories. I think that art style would work very, very well with Star Wars.
I
It
would
would
like
so
for
hard.
them to slap the chuds in the face and release it in the style of SWTOR cinematic animation. That would
Can you
cost
give
a
me
lot
an
more.
example?
No, I want you to go further. I think they should make an animated show with SWTOR gameplay animation. Like, you guys said you love SWTOR. I thought you loved SWTOR. It's like, this doesn't look like SWTOR. I'm like, sounds like you didn't play it.
The DYAD Squadron.
No, like, this is kind of what Choco was saying is there is. And this is not a dig at people who genuinely love the Clone Wars. There is a specific type of fan out there that typically is very loud, especially on social media, that, like you said, they are a fan of the Clone Wars, not Star Wars as a whole.
Yes.
And that is fine. I have no problem with that. But where I do take issue is a lot of these types of fans, especially the vocal ones, typically want to shut down other conversations surrounding Star Wars, and it's typically what we deal with a lot of online with comment sections and stitches and stuff like that, and that is frustrating. And I was talking about this like earlier today or yesterday of like, I have had the least productive conversations around Star Wars when it comes to people who are obsessed with the Clone Wars than other facets of Star Wars. And it's not to take away from the Clone Wars, and it's not to take away people loving and appreciating the Clone Wars or the clones. There's no disrespect for the Bad Batch girlies. The Bad Batch is incredible.
Chase knows that if he doesn't say that, he's gonna be like,
I gotta cover my bases, man. These
God.
fans are feral. Remy is like stomping her way to Seattle right now.
I do want to
And
shout
it's
out.
like
I do
Obi-Wan
want to
is-
shout out Eric Snelker, who joined the DYAD squad and also subbed for 6 months.
Ooh,
Nice.
Eric, hello,
Thank you for
you,
the
and
support.
welcome.
They said just wanted to check. Is it intentional that the clock app is no longer integrated into the chat? It's not intentional. TikTok updated and they broke it, so I gotta wait until that's fixed.
Thanks, TikTok.
But yeah, you know, you're sub to the red play button side now, so just chat here. But thank you so much for the support.
with Maul and the talent stuff. From what I was seeing in that trailer, she's obviously this is like her when she was younger. I don't know her story at all. Literally, the only thing that I know of her is like, okay, hot Twilight Sith
That's
Lord.
her story.
Okay, like literally,
That's
like,
her story.
That like when I see her, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what an incel wants. That's what those people want. It's weird.
I'm upset that the characters in Marathon aren't fuckable.
I wish you were joking when you say that, but that's an actual conversation that's happening in the world, and it is
It's
like
so crazy. But like, I do like the concept of, and me being a, oh, I want to see Vader fight Maul. Like, I don't know how that works logistically, but I could see if they wanted to bring him in, they could. Like, everybody loved that comic run in Legends. Like, it's weird. I think it'd be interesting, but then it just gets rid of like the whole fact that they didn't know whether he was alive or not. You know, because it's like that way in
Somehow, Maul returned.
Oh,
Take
God.
that back, Malik. Malik says the cringe when I read Githany in the Bane book.
There's a lot of cringe in that trilogy. Let's get that out
Listen,
there. There's a lot of
Githany is not one of them.
No, but there is a lot of. I love Drew Karpyshyn. I genuinely love Drew Karpyshyn. Drew Karpyshyn needs to stick to narratives where there is player and like perspective agency. When he is stuck in a linear path, he's more talented than I could ever dream to be. But at the same time, good God, pterodactyls in space.
Okay, when Githany is like
Avner, no one will know.
And he pulls a straight up Batman and Robin like rubber lips. It was like that was weird. I
Heal my disease, or I will kill your son. I'm covered in crabs, lightsaber resistant crabs.
You know what? I just
Githany
realized it really
is not
quickly.
the worst.
Just really quickly, Chase, can you check if you're coming through your mic?
I can. I hope I am.
You're right next to it. It sounds like it's coming through the webcam.
It's not me for once. It's not me for once.
It happens. I think is that better?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
It's way better.
It said I just clicked on and off of it, so it said it was selected on this microphone, but I don't know.
Did I hear Darth Bane slander? I have been summoned.
Shut up, Kenny.
No, that's Daxon.
That's Duxon.
No. I'm talking to Kenny. Give it time, Luke. Give it time. Shut up, Kenny.
I have read the Bane trilogy twice.
Great to see you, man. Great to see you. But Daxon is literally named for the moon that that he rode the pterodactyl.
Yeah.
From the.
It's the moon from KOTOR 2. With the fucking pig-faced bulls. Lizard bulls.
That's wild, y'all.
Is that where Cantankerous Ordo is hiding?
Yeah, that's where like the Mandalorian like village is. That definitely not Canderous. Ordo is not Mandalore. Definitely not.
I call him Cantankerous.
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 I'm not clan. I'm not Canderous, but everything for Clan Ordo. Okay, gotcha. Got it. Okay.
All right, pal.
Thanks.
All
for
right, pal.
correction.
Put your carton down.
Mitra Surik is a far more interesting character than Darth Revan. I will say that right now. With my full chest.
Darth Revan is more interesting through the eyes of Mitra Surik as well.
Yes.
Perspective. Welcome to Star
Anyways, Darth Maul, that guy. Spider legs.
It'll be interesting to see because we saw I kind of got Dark Knight Joker's gang type of vibes watching that trailer a little bit. Like when they're being chased through the tunnel, they the door slides down and there's just like a guy with a machine gun. And I'm like, this is so 1990s Batman animated series. And I was like, you know what? I love it. It's great. I can't. It's just more it's more content, and I loved how they Sam Witwer and Athena. Well, Athena was talking about how they've worked together. It's so nice to see that others are getting chances to create and produce more things. And people that say, oh well, she hasn't been part of Star Wars long. Do you want to? She was there with the Clone Wars. She was there with Rebels. She's been with Dave Filoni pretty much since she's basically just in the same high position in animation than what Dave is for the entire company. Think about that. And that's what I absolutely love about Star Wars is that they take chances on people that are they make a concerted effort to make inclusion.
It's a return on investment.
Because, yes, exactly. Everything that she's been part of has been heralded as successes. I mean, granted, and Chase is completely right when he says this. The first 3 seasons of the Clone Wars, specifically the first 2 seasons, at least I can agree with. No, get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. Stop it. I will give you seasons 1 and 2, and maybe part of 3. But like those first two seasons are rough.
The opening of season 4 is maybe one of the roughest things.
Are you talking about Mortis? Is that
no Moncala?
Oh, Moncala. Some people
that was just a weird thing.
That was hey, we figured out how to do underwater effects. We need to do a whole spectacle of it.
Or hey, we can bring Tom Kane to do Akbar.
Well, hey, it makes sense because you saw on the panel with Light and Magic, they were talking about how George wrote stories. He said he wrote things and then said to Light and Magic, figure out how we're gonna do it. So I mean, I feel like George was like, let's do like SeaWorld. And then we're like, oh, I gotta figure out how to do
He's like, I want to see a shark man. Show me a shark man.
I feel like to last thing about Clone Wars, I feel like Clone Wars as it was coming out was kind of like the BBC, as like when there's a new camera technology invented, the BBC is like, what animals can we shoot with this? And the Clone Wars was like, hey, we figured out how to do really realistic explosions. Like, what can we do with this? We figured out how to do water really well. What can we do with this?
Exactly.
Just so that everybody
similar but different. I actually test new cameras with BBC as well.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, you do, buddy. Anyway,
who's your model?
Andy. Oh God, Andy Wise Guy is actually in the Andor
you mean,
panel.
what do I call
it? Oh, Jesus criminy! And they have all the people. They have people dressed up in One Way Out.
Yeah.
Like the stuff again. They brought them up all on stage.
That's great. I love that.
I loved running into that in London. You know,
yeah,
when you're going from exhibit to exhibit, and then everyone just starts to chant One Way Out, and then they're all running down a hallway.
That was great.
But
I'm excited for Maul. To bring it back to Maul, I'm excited for Maul because it's new Star Wars content. And very similarly with the Bad Batch, I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised.
Agreed.
One thing I do want to say is I would love to, I might message Nick and see if he can get me one. That 20th anniversary poster of Star Wars animation with almost every single character they've ever done. Beautiful.
It is pretty. It is.
I love that. Like
someone.
I have Nick getting me a Revenge of the Sith sweatshirt.
I got a hat coming and a charm coming. So
there we go.
Someone DM'd me and said, "Are you mad that Sam Witwer is still part of Star Wars?" And I was like, "Why would I be mad?" Because of how critical he's been about the sequels. And I said, like, Sam Witwer,
he's allowed to have an opinion just like we are. Like what?
And I was like, I may disagree with Sam Witwer, but all of his points are content engaged. He doesn't engage in like id poll. He doesn't like engage with the politics surrounding projects. He engages critically with the contents of the show, which is all we've been trying to do this whole time.
Ewan McGregor made fun of the prequels like relentlessly. He said it was just a totally goofy experience all around, and like this stuff didn't make sense. Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Ewan McGregor made fun of the movies they were in. Like, it's fine for someone who's involved to like not agree. Like the people that I know that work for Lucasfilm, they don't like every single thing that has come out of Star Wars, even if they worked on it. And it's just like, if he doesn't like the way that things were done in the sequel trilogy, and he has like well thought out points, that's great. I love to hear that. I love to hear people say like, here's what I didn't like about this, and I can back it up. And if you ask me to tell you more, I can dive deeper into that. That I love.
Also, a lot of people are constantly referring to the same goddamn Sam Witwer clip over and over again, and has ignored everything else. Because I've posted a lot of his clips of talking about Star Wars, of talking about, just like everyone was saying, engaging critically with it, and talking about how whenever you see something that you don't like or you don't agree with, that the best way of dealing with it is asking, well, instead of saying, oh, that's bad or that's wrong, say, why did they do it like that? And think of it that way. And he said that that's the reason that he got hired and that he continues to work with them is because he's capable of doing that. If they actually listen to what Sam Witwer says, they wouldn't cherry pick his quotes to try and use it against the sequel trilogy.
No, and here's the other thing. What Harris said was perfect. He's done talking about it because he realizes how much his opinion matters to fans.
Same with Mark.
And that's the thing that
that's why I don't criticize the sequel. Like there are things I love the sequels, like genuinely love them. Like for me, it's original sequels, prequels. I love them. I have things I take issue with in the sequels.
Absolutely.
Same with the original, same with the prequels. I don't talk poorly about the sequels for exactly that reason. Like I don't want my personal stupid nonsensical reason to go out on the internet and some loser clips it and runs with it in another person's comment section. Like that's not what I want.
That's the thing. Like it's the fact that he has the awareness, and like this is where we divulge. You have Sam Witwer who has an opinion that is somewhat controversial, but he is able to articulate. Then you have the ragers that just go the opposite way and use that and know damn well they know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, they'll use a perfectly valid opinion from Witwer or Hamill.
Yes.
As a launching off point to complain about space witches and lesbian space witches and fire in space. And let me be clear about this. If your entire critique on, for example, The Acolyte is that, then I'm gonna slap you.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and engage critically. Critique the motivations of a character, the merits of the story, the dialogue. Do all of that good stuff.
Which is what we constantly do.
Yeah, the difference between someone who has a viewpoint like Sam Witwer's is that you could engage in a conversation with someone like that if he does not like or appreciate the direction that particular set of movies went through. You could have a conversation and a dialogue about that. If I love the direction and dialogue or direction that it went through, we could have a conversation and go off of each other's points and say, I totally get where you're coming from, but also but then, and then you can continue.
Have you ever thought of it this way?
Yeah, we had an entire conversation with Magic by Michaela the other week, who dislikes The Last Jedi, and
sure, that's fine.
Totally normal conversation.
I don't like Return of the Jedi. It's okay.
Yeah.
I still love it. It's Star Wars. I've seen that movie countless times, but it's not one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I know so many people that's their favorite Star Wars movie. That's what really sold them on Star Wars, and that's great.
The one that pisses me off, Malik says, the most is when they grab random clips of stars at press and interviews and say they look, they're so unhappy. That was one of the things back in the Last Jedi days when they were taking a behind-the-scenes clip of Mark Hamill actually acting, and they're like, he looks so sad that they're doing this to Luke. It's like, no, he's acting.
Yeah, it's insane what the internet nowadays just brings out in people. Just shut up and let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. At the end of the day, it's not affecting you. Okay.
Now, one of the awesome things that did come out of Star Wars Celebration yesterday is more information on something we already knew about. So the Lucasfilm Publishing panel came out, and we had Adam Christopher there talking a little bit more about his upcoming Vader book. And that one does have me. Master of Evil. What were you gonna say?
I've got thoughts.
Luke's got
Chris. so Chris
I do too, but I don't talk about that on the internet.
Well, anyways, Chris, obviously Star Wars lawyer is in Japan. He met up with Adam Christopher and was picking his brain. And the intel that he got was there's a small part of time where it's shortly before the comics, but it's in a weird in between the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of 2017 run, which I find hard to believe because it takes place that comic run takes place right after Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. So I'm wondering if it's between the two comic runs of the
No.
2017
Well,
run.
there's
So
like a
he does
45-minute gap between, him becoming Vader and then, the whole speech on Coruscant. So we don't know where Vader. Just
No, but he was.
You had me
talking
going for a
about
second
that.
there. That's why my eyes got big as shit. I'm like, what are you talking about, Pat?
No, he was talking about that on the panel though, and he was like, "You guys are gonna be surprised once you actually get into it." But if you read the 2017 run, there is small gaps in time, and like
Yeah.
he's like, I have spreadsheets and spreadsheets of the timeline of in between every panel of this comic run, and I found this gap that was perfect for the story I wanted to tell, and that's where it is. So yeah, this is early Vader going through the paces and being a menace.
See, like, here's the thing, though. Think about this, guys. The Revenge of the Sith novelization recover comes out in October. This book comes out in November. Like, we get those two books back to back. Like, there's got to be a connection where he's going to, because not only have a lot of authors used Matthew Stover's, like, the Red Dragon. I mean, look at what Brotherhood's
Brother, yeah.
author.
I was gonna say Red Dragon is also a really good book if you haven't read it.
Well, anyway.
They also make excellent Chinese food. It's very authentic.
Sun Dragon.
Yeah, the Sun Dragon. Thank you. I think there's probably going to be a mention of that if I had to guess. And we get to see Vader go through the growing pains, like he does we get a little bit of it in Lords of the Sith, but like he's getting new. He's getting new to the cybernetics. Everything's new to this. The pain in his head. I think that's gonna be.
I mean,
amazing.
these comics are full of growing pains.
Yeah,
I'm excited about this book, and I'm really based on just like I love the. I don't know if it's the final cover, but if it is the final cover, like it's
that final
good.
Yes.
I want more content around Darth Vader that brings him back to the villain status.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want another minute of Sky Guy. I want Vader back.
On the flip side, I would like more content on Vader coming back to the light. Like the lead up to his meeting with
Return of the
Luke,
Jedi.
Like between Empire and Jedi,
or
like,
just
that could be
right before
interesting.
Jedi, right before his
Sure.
meeting with Luke.
yeah.
I just
I am
want the
fine with
content
that.
to plant a flag and saying this is a cautionary tale. Anakin did the bad thing. He was
He
the
is
bad
not
guy.
a good person.
It is.
Yeah.
And this is not entirely the Jedi's fault. This is like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that brings me to a
it-
quote from Filoni that I'm glad he said on stage just outright. He said, this is what the Jedi provided. The clones were all the same, but became different. Under the Empire, the stormtroopers were all different, but became the same. And that's what evil does to individuality. It crushes it. And I was like, yes, take notes, guys. The Empire's evil.
It's so insane that we have to keep reminding people that the Empire is indeed the bad guy here. Like that's crazy to me that in this. Well, actually, it's not all that crazy.
It's
with
okay to say the Empire are the bad guys. While
are the bad guys.
While also acknowledging that there are some people within the Empire that have
that have
paid
interesting
the price of war.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
The
Like,
Empire is a complex machine, and those
Yes.
parts can be interesting to observe and dissect. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with empathizing someone's reasons or rationale for joining something like the Empire or the First Order. When we get stories like Tamravora, when we get stories like Sienna Ree, like it is interesting to explore these stories where we understand why someone would do this and their own acknowledgments of the shortcomings and faults of the, but still recognizing that the machine that they help operate is one that is built on evil. and it's just like some people do not want to go past that scratched up surface level examination of what they're talking about, and they pretend to in a very dangerous way when they try to justify
disingenuous
yeah,
way. Yeah,
disingenuous probably better when they try to justify what the Empire did. Like the comments of like there was more peace under the Empire. Like define
I don't know
peace
what.
then.
Yeah,
Good God.
exactly.
Quiet. There wasn't more
No,
peace for sure.
Talk about how people still don't understand that the evil empire is the American industrial complex. It's literally George has said it multiple times. It's very blatantly clear. The empire is the American, is the United States, and the Viet Cong.
The Empire is the American.
Yeah. Like
That
they're the United States.
Over there.
Yeah.
It's Luke.
Shout out
You're
to
the
Khan
Empire.
Skywalker in the TikTok side. Thank you for the 50 lightning.
What's up, Khan?
Oh
You've been doing
damn.
well.
If you want your chats to show up, you can join us on YTubs.
Oh,
iDubbbz. I know that guy.
He's the
Why
American. right
Tubbs?
over
I
there.
hardly know her.
He's the American. He's the Empire.
What were you saying, Luke? If you hadn't finished your thought.
It's so mind-boggling that people still can't grasp that, like, what George's original thought for the original movie was. Like, this was an anti-Vietnam movie, and people still don't understand that. I find it's absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
I think with the Empire, and I don't know if there's more news, and if this is a good segue, you guys can tell me. But no, I think that there is. It's not just the Vietnam War. It is the Empire is a commentary and paints the portrait of tyrannical governments, fascist dictatorships, and what is possible when powers have unregulation amongst their ranks. And because the stormtroopers, the aesthetics, the outfits of the Empire very much is reminiscent and pulled directly from 1930s Germany. So like there's aspects of multiple regimes in there. You have characters like Admiral Trench, who is like an almost Mussolini-esque in his appearance and his actions and behaviors. Like there's so many parallels and commentary throughout, you know, the story we're getting, the visual storytelling, the set dressing, the costumes, all of it. Like it's just one of those things. Like it's always been like what Pep was saying about Anakin. It's a cautionary tale. Star Wars itself is a cautionary tale of like what happens when the power gets to be too much.
All stories are.
Yeah.
Truth be told. What else came out of day one? Choco made a video about it. Takashi Miyazaki.
Yes, I think he. Oh,
Is it confirmed he's working on something, or
is he working on something?
It was
I
in
didn't
Japanese.
get any of that.
I'm sorry.
We were watching it live with the Podwans, and I was translating some of what he was saying. I didn't.
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't
where
get
do
any confirmation. He was strictly talking about what Star Wars meant to him, how the Jedi period films inspired Lucasfilm, Kurosawa inspired Lucasfilm, and George Lucas, and then how he was then inspired by Star Wars in his filmmaking career. I didn't get anything from it.
Do you think that during the Visions panel he will come out and announce something?
He could,
maybe.
but
I think that would be the perfect opportunity, actually, Chase.
in the spirit of what I'm assuming is Choco's desire, is if he did something, what would he do?
He would do a Zillow Beast.
Oh my God! Yes,
Zillow minus
live
one.
action Zillow Beast. Oh, sign me up. That'd be sick.
I threw this. I was talking to Darius when we were watching it, and this is a massive if. This is a huge if. This is an if that is held by a really, really weak string. If they were to do Abeloth, I think he would be the director. to do
Oh
that.
my god. I don't know how I feel about Abeloth existing in the canon universe.
I don't want Abeloth either.
Hear me out. There are.
But going
I think that's I think that's a good idea. I would also, if they're going to go down that direction of like lots of elements of Abeloth like revolve around cosmic horror and like that almost Lovecraftian approach to what is possible within science fiction. And under that, if we were that string you're on, there are people I would prefer to see work on that. With what has recently come out, Sam Raimi is pick number one, and Todd McFarlane to do art direction for something like that would be probably my peak desire.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
Ooh,
some of his horror stuff, like to me, doesn't work sometimes. But yeah, I could see it working in Star Wars for something like that. I think there's 100% room for cosmic horror within Star Wars and to have that story being told.
Just saying.
The Star Weird.
Star Weird minus
Wait,
one, I was about to say.
hold on. Let me cook here. Let me cook with horror. Give me Darth Plagueis trying to figure out the immortality. Have him do the most horrific shit in that movie. Give me that.
I would look at that as more of like a body horror thing than a cosmic horror thing, which could also be interesting. I don't know if it fits the vibe of Star Wars, but I mean that also kind of falls back into the Sam Raimi territory. I mean, Damien Leone, I think, would be hilarious.
You can go back to the origins of the immortality studies and just do one on Darth Sanguine.
Yeah, that's a messed up story.
Plagueis is like the fact that we got a little bit of that funky little guy and we'll never
Luke loves
never
his
see him
meaty little
again.
boy.
I do. I love fucking Damask Holdings. I want to see that motherfucker in live action again because I lost my ever-living mind.
Have you, though?
What?
You said you love fucking Damask Holdings.
Hey, they make me a lot of money.
I did. That was man. That was my name in a lot of online games.
My friend Roddy back home was all Higo Damask as well.
Yeah.
So if you were ever Higo Damask (1), you know who was.
Have you ever heard of the gamer Higo Damask?
If you're playing Dark Souls 1 on PC and Higo Damask invaded you, that was
Chase is like,
Roddy.
that's me.
No, not me. That was my friend Roddy. I'm dog shit at Dark Souls.
Oh, Ronnie. Okay, yeah.
What else came out?
Well, I mean, so it's not necessarily new, but we did have. Well, okay, so
Star
one
Wars
thing, Alyssa Wong.
Monopoly.
That's true.
Swear to God.
Alyssa Wong let us know that she's working on something new.
Oh, yes.
And that's going to be her reprising one of the older characters that she created. So I believe that means we're getting more Dr. Aphra, but that is not confirmed.
Oh, yeah.
They also talked a little bit more about, we're entering the final phase of the High Republic.
Yeah.
So some of those authors were.
Have you guys read Into the Light?
I'm reading it.
I am in chapter 2, at the end of chapter 2, and how the hell do they have a certain item? That makes no sense to me right now.
I'll have to start reading it, but I'm pretty sure I'll know the answer.
You probably will. But anyway, yeah, it's an era coming to an end, which makes me think, like, what's the next thing?
A show.
Is it gonna be after the Rise of Skywalker? They're gonna start putting more book media into that to tie into these things.
They're gonna do an animated project. It's going to center
hope so.
around
For Nestor.
the time Orla was a Wayseeker, and it's gonna be called Lone Wars.
All right, that's good. That's a good one. That's a good one.
They also spoke a little bit more about because the art of the acolyte and the acolyte related projects that we have coming out. And then finally we did get Phil Stozak. I don't know how to fully say his name because it's weird. But yeah, he announced that he is officially working on and will have completed the art of Andor, which is completed for both seasons 1 and 2, with the foreword by Tony Gilroy himself.
I gotta shout out Buckets on stage.
Oh yeah, Buckets on stage.
Like Resistance Bucket?
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, they just announced a new movie. Just kidding.
Resistance, the movie.
Resistance,
Andor,
Starfighter, the Rogue Squadron.
So Andor season 2 panel is still going on.
What's ND live tweeting to you?
Nothing. He just said they just ran the Narkina 5 group that they brought up on stage. They started running around the celebration stage doing No Way Out.
Yeah.
Or One Way
Yesterday
Out.
they brought out the Wilbur Hoods, and then today it's the One Way Out.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. There's
fewer and fewer of the real ice cream machines, though.
Yeah.
Talking about the Camtono?
Yeah. Everyone back in the day, people would seek out and buy that specific model, but like they discontinued it like 30 years ago. So they're just getting less and less.
Oh, this is a good non sequitur. Jaybird says, out of continuity, Darth Vader versus Predator comic because they can. That is what they should do.
I mean, you got Sigourney Weaver in Star Wars now.
It's a
Go ahead,
it's a
bring
quick
on the
comic
Predator.
though. Like, I hate to tell you that Vader just
Bodies.
it's free. It's a zero diff. The Predator can't hide from Vader,
No.
and the Predator can't survive the lightsaber. And if and if he could, Vader will just crush the Predator.
Yeah.
Like, if we're dealing with the Force, the Predator can't hide in it, and it's over.
Unless you want to give it like Yusong Bong kind of perks.
Why would we though? It's like giving Batman
I'm just saying.
prep
I'm just
time.
saying if you wanted to do it in continuity to make it harder for Vader to kill.
It's like giving Batman prep time. He doesn't inherently come with prep time. He needs to know of something to come, and then he's going to prepare for it. But if he runs into Wolverine on the street, and it's just like a chance encounter, he then does not have prep time.
He dies pretty quickly in that case.
Hey.
Force sensitive Predator. I mean, they do have their own thing, but it's not.
That being said, you could do something of the sort. I mean, we do have the comic where Tarkin hunted Vader, and that was the last comic.
That is crazy. I was like, just seeing Tarkin be like, "Oh, come on, Vader! I got all these bounty hunters. Take me on, you bastard!"
Star Wars, give me something with ET's species, with that one.
Yes.
They are canon.
Yeah.
They are. So
That's
I
why
guess they're
E.T.
actually
saw
streaming.
Yoda and was like, I know that guy. Like, yeah. Yoda
How's the Endor happening right now? And Diego is on stage.
I do have the Star Wars stream up. Diego and Tony just came out.
Yeah, they're showing this. This is quite interesting that they didn't do this for Mando and Grogu. This makes me feel like they.
Oh, is this the panel?
It's delayed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's delayed, but it is the panel.
Oh,
This
Dundra,
is
my
all
love.
of them. All of them. Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, he's K2.
I have a feeling that we're gonna get those. I think we're gonna get the first arc early. I have a
They're
feeling.
gonna get the first arc early.
I
I think we'll
don't
get the
think
first
so. Because
episode.
listen, they didn't even get to watch the first episode in LA, or maybe that's why. But they only showed them like 15 minutes of footage, which was like,
Oh, really?
yeah, which is strange because
That is very strange for a premiere.
Yeah, we saw 3 episodes in that in season 1 premiere.
Yeah.
I know they showed Tales of the Underworld. They showed an episode of Tales of the Underworld.
Oh, which, by the way, holy shit! How is that not the thing that we're talking about, Pep?
Because we talked about Tales of the Underworld when it was announced.
No, but like Dark Disciple,
Oh, I
like
know.
everybody
I-
not losing their mind.
I lost my mind when we were talking about it when it was announced. I had my very own Quinlan Voss freaking seizure. That was the day Michaela was on, I believe. Yeah, we were talking about Quinlan Voss, how he could possibly make an appearance in Tales of the Underworld. But what else can we talk about? There's nothing new about it, you know.
No,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
they showed an episode at Celebration, so like it's
and
cool. if
and
people got to see
everybody that's talked about it literally has said it is amazing. It's made me cry, so that's
Nice.
always good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What is Star Wars but sadness persisting?
Of course,
For sure.
war is hell.
Is that the antithesis to
That's
like,
a
what
great
is-
episode of Futurama.
What's the quote that mirrors? What is this if not but love?
Perseverance
Persevering?
is love persisting.
Oh. Yeah, well.
What does that light mean? War were declared.
All right.
I love Futurama.
Let's move on to our main segment.
This ham gun is mostly.
We've gotten
phones.
all of the news out of day 1. It's unlikely that more, at least breaking news, will break in day 2. It's
No.
just,
Unless we go until midnight, then there's Ahsoka.
I mean, we're not going to be live until midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I don't-
but we
I
will
do have
all,
things to do tonight.
but we will all be alive until midnight.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Yeah.
No
Speak for
promises.
yourself.
But
Jeez.
our main segment, of course, is talking about Alexander Freed's new book, Mask of Fear. And this has been a long time coming because, well, we've been trying to give people time to read it. And I think having Chase and Luke here, having read it, seems like it has paid off. We've had 2 more people read it.
Yeah. Honestly,
It was a thick book.
it is a bigger book.
I tell this story.
Just content-wise, it's rich.
I tell this
Yes.
story a lot. I was like on chapter 40 the first week it was out. I was like, Choco, we're gonna talk about this on Friday, right? He's like, I haven't finished it yet, right? And then as I'm continuing, I see that it goes up to chapter 70. I'm like, I'm not close to finishing it either. I'm sorry, never mind.
To be
I
fair,
will
there is a moment in that book where there are 4 chapters back to back. They're each half a page long.
Yeah. No, seriously.
All
Yeah.
right, then it's
Oh.
64 or something.
I will say when I first got this book, I was very intrigued by it to begin with because I knew it was going to be after Revenge of the like directly after Revenge of the Sith. So anything like with that obviously piques my interest. But that first chapter with Bail going to Jeddah,
Mhm.
it broke me, and it made me think of theories that are with the other 2 books instantly. Because, you know, my brain goes to Kenobi Bail, and I'm like, okay. So he's hell-bent this entire book to prove that the Jedi did nothing wrong. And he at the end of this book, he's still kind of on that mission. It's just less and less. So my thinking is around Kenobi. When we see the end of Kenobi, he's like, Obi-Wan's telling him about the path and how it needs more resources, it needs more funds. Who better to be involved in that than Bail fucking Organa?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say at the outset of this book, like as you were talking about it, it made me hate Mon Mothma.
It's a tough
Continue.
look. It's a tough look. I get what you're saying though, Pep, because it's like we're meant to.
Not that I hate her now. I'm saying like those sections of the book where she's constantly fighting against Bale's, good-natured desire to exonerate the Jedi, and like always kind of like cutting him off at the pass. I was like, just a little bit of like, let him cook, just get out of his way. But then she goes on to do that whole monologue, and that just sticks with me to this day. And I felt back.
I love the monologue. I did a video on the monologue because it was really impactful. But I didn't hate her because I agreed with her. And we see this. The thing that I think that was the theme of this book is just how horrifyingly accurate it paralleled the world's current state as it is right
absolutely. I didn't. So I didn't disagree with her, but at the same time, there was small ideological things that really irked me about how the status quo must be preserved, but also how you mustn't rock the boat. These are all things that kind of piss me off, but at the same time, her reasoning for that is valid. And like, you don't want to rock the boat, not because you would rock the boat. You don't want to rock the boat to draw attention to yourself. And all of this stuff, like, this is how good the book is.
Yeah, we see this with Bale and like his conversations, when Mon kind of sends Perrin to talk to Bale to calm him down. And it is Bale in this book believes that empathy is a universal trait amongst the galaxy, and that if he can rationalize through empathy what is going on, he will get the entire Senate on his side. The whole galaxy will agree with him if only he can make people care. But that's just not how it works. And that's what Mon tries to do with him. And that's what he learns throughout the course of the book, is that even if, no matter how right you are, no matter how just you are, and your beliefs that the Jedi were wronged, and they were. We know this because we've seen Star Wars. We know what happens behind the scenes. Like, we know even more than Bale does. But he learns throughout the course of this novel that his passion is not shared. The only person who comes close to his passion is his wife, and even she has a grounded perspective on everything. And you don't even want to call them arguments, just the disagreements that Bale and Breya have in their brief moments together, and how he learns that like all of the empathy in the world, he can bring that to the Senate, he can bring that to the galaxy, but where his empathy is needed most is with his family. And he learns that towards I'd say the 3/4 mark, once he's back from Eota Joritz. As he starts to learn this, and I think it's a great arc for Bail Organa, and I do appreciate Mon like being this like grounding stone for him of like, it doesn't matter how right you are about the Jedi, no one agrees with you anymore, and it's more important that we stop what is happening in front of our eyes, what caused the purge of the Jedi. We stop that now. And we do that in a way that will get people to agree with us and will get people on our side, and not just think that we're bleeding hearts that could possibly be bleeding hearts for treasonous people. And it's like, I love both of them for their viewpoints on that.
I mean, what this book really does, I think a fantastic job of, is trying to show people the realities of being in politics at a pivotal moment like this. Yes. Because, listen, fascism, dictatorship was descending on the galaxy. They could all see it. And everyone has to figure out what to do about it. But everyone also is trying to, you have to consider, well, if I step out of line, I get hammered. Or, they arrested Mon Mothma and locked her in a room where she couldn't really stand
Holy
up, and just
shit!
locked her in there. And then when they let her out, they were like, we can come back at any time for any reason, and they forced people to sign documents saying they agree with this whole thing. And like, I mean, this stuff was gnarly, and you're like, do I protect my own peace? Do I do this to protect my family? If I get voted out, then I'm no good to anyone. So should I play ball at the beginning of it? Obviously the Jedi were wrong, and they're sending out propaganda against the Jedi that is obvious lies. Which was funny because the stuff they were sending out from the Jedi mirrors what people online say, and you're like, this is like I'm taking crazy pills here.
I also think that it is going back to the conversation of how Pep felt with Mon and how it frustrated him. I find it fascinating because in previous media, they're like, oh yeah, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, buddy. Yeah. Not really the truth.
No.
Like, the thing that kept them together, and I love the fact that Alexander Freed came out and said that Padme Amidala was the thing that kept those two together. She was able to put Bail's yin and Mon's yang and put them together.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Just the way
is that wrong?
Just the way you said it.
Oh, well, I mean, it's like they don't really see eye to eye a lot through this book. And it makes sense because the thing that kept them together is gone. It's essentially gone. And
there's a lot of stuff that we just assume in Star Wars because we always saw those characters together. But this is like, no, there's more to that story. That's also why I love, like Andor, where you see Luthen and he gives his speech. It's not saying Luthen is right or that he's wrong for what he's doing. He has one belief on how things need to get done. Mon has another, but they're both at least vaguely going in the same direction. So let's kind of help each other.
It's an exercise in stepping into their shoes. They're always operating on a data set that only they know of, and as fans, we get to be third person omniscient all the time. Mm-hmm. But when you can finally step into their shoes, you get even more understanding, and you can empathize with them more. Something that Chud Nuggets can't. Shout out to Jordan Kinney, Beskar Buffalo here. I was wrong about Andor upon second watch. Better than Boba Fett, but not my favorite. Welcome.
Interesting. Jordan. So another thing, while we're kind of on the Andor talk, apparently they're getting shown the first episode. But with Andor season 1 specifically, with this tie-in with this book, the way Luthen throws, when Mon talks to Luthen in Andor season 1, with the context of this book, she goes, I have sacrificed she's like, when he's like, oh yeah, you have to sacrifice more, she's like, nobody's more at risk than me. And the fact that she has what happens in this book to her, like, she gets, like, she's put through the ringer in the first two, like she comes out of the camp, like the ISB interrogates the hell out of her, and then she blows up a separatist assassin. Like, dude, she's been through it.
Yeah, no, she that was commitment. You know what I mean? Like,
it's something that I do hope gets brought up in Andor season 2. Like, when we look at Andor season 1, and there is one of the themes of all of the characters that are starting the rebellion, there's a sense of sacrifice. We have, Nemik lost his life for the rebellion. Vel is sacrificing, a life of luxury. Mon is sacrificing all this stuff. Luthen has sacrificed everything. And, it's a theme of that. And I do hope that they tie in what happens in this book, what Alexander
Hey, Carter! Thank you.
Hi, Carter. I hope they tie in what happens to, not to jump around the book too much, but like the metal shrapnel inside of Mon Mothma's heart. I hope that has some type of nod in Andor season 2, because I feel like
Thank you for the rose.
there's a point of what does each leader of the rebellion sacrifice themselves. And she's
Yes.
obviously sacrificing her daughter to make this work, but she has also sacrificed before then. And it's not like she's trying to play catch up. And I think that's how Luthen feels towards her in some ways, and Saw does as well, when it's she has been sacrificing since day one. What happened to her in that cell? What happened to her after that? What happened to her when she tried to even stop Sujin from making everything so much worse? Everything
And it
she
would've.
sacrificed.
would've.
What happened to Zuna? Everything. Literally, what Luthen says, she sacrificed everything.
Sacrifice her home. She literally only exists inside of her own mind, because she is also being monitored constantly.
Yes.
Everything is on the line the whole time. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Master James Kenobi says, Mask of Fear helped me not hate Perrin as much.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
still don't like him.
I
But
You don't like him, but you understand their relationship
Yes.
so much more.
Yes.
When you understand, and this is what makes it hurt so much more, and what's going to make season 2 of Andor hurt so much more, is that she did not want the Chandrillan marriage. She wanted a life of her own, and she wasn't able to get it. And she wanted to keep her daughter from that and to continue on with the rebellion to stop the Empire. She was forced to send her daughter down the path that she had to go through, and she wanted to break that cycle. We see it in Andor season 1 when Vel comes by and she's doing like the Chandrillan
ritual.
the elder ritual, and it's just like, oh God, what are we doing? And the relationship with Perrin and how they explain Perrin and Mon's relationship, and they kind of like talk about how like it was a back and forth of like, oh God, here's the arranged marriage, I don't like you, oh but you're okay, oh but we disagree, oh but we should have kids because it's expected of us, we don't want kids, oh you're actually not that bad, let's have a child, oh I don't like how you raise our child. Like it was a back and forth that like just drove a wedge further and further between them over the years. And it's like, well, do I think Perrin is a good man? Do I think he is a like upstanding person and a good husband towards Mon? No, but I understand his apathy towards the relationship and the apathy towards the situation.
It's like it's literally like
he's
the Michael
also-
Scott the Michael Scott meme. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. You let me do it all.
Because at the same time, he's kind of as trapped as she is. Because I'm sure
Yes.
there's probably other things he wants to do.
Yeah.
He certainly doesn't want to continue to come home and find people murdered at their apartment, and so yeah, that stuff is pretty wild. I also wanted to just go back really quick. The shrapnel in her heart, it hurt me because I remember how she had to step down because people thought that she would be the great unifier in the future, but she had to kind of step down due to health reasons, that she had some sort of sickness, and I'm assuming that's was that coming
The
full
heart
circle.
condition. Yeah.
She has the
So-
heart condition, the Goku condition.
Yeah. So I love that. Also, I saw a commercial for Doctor Who. Was Cinta is Cinta in Doctor Who now?
Wait,
I
what?
don't pay attention to Doctor Who. So
I don't pay attention
I'm
to Doctor
sorry, I
Who
don't know.
either.
Cinta, the actress?
Yeah.
The actress who plays Cinta in Andor.
Is she a partner now?
I thought she was in Doctor Who. I just saw a commercial. I'm not up on it, but for the new Doctor, I was like, looks like Cinta.
Interesting.
I just remember because I think Cinta's hot.
You're not wrong.
You are not wrong there, Choco. You are not
I'm
wrong.
not seeing. Oh nope, you are right.
Is she really?
Oh,
She
she
is
is.
credited for Doctor Who.
That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
she's the new companion to Shooty.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I
Nice.
haven't seen the new season with him. So yeah,
I haven't seen
I
anything.
gotta watch it now.
Jeremy says Ahsoka D's nuts.
Damn.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Especially if they're dirty. Definitely want to.
Are you a real man? Do you like them dirty? Who knows?
Um,
Reminds me
But-
of House Guest when Sinbad goes to the. I might be aging myself, but
I mean, just saying Sinbad ages you quite a bit.
He's at the golf course for the first time, and some guy is like, "Hey, can I wash your balls?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "What? Don't touch me!" And then he's just like, "Fine, I just wanted to see if you wanted to wash your balls." Puts his golf balls in the thing, starts washing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. He's nuts.
That just made me think of a scene on Coming to America. That's very different. But, anyways,
Back to Mask of Fear.
Yeah, one of the things that I did like, kind of going off of Mon and Perrin, is just the mirror imagery, the parallels between Mon and Perrin and Bail and Brea. Like, they are almost polar opposites in as far as their interactions with each other. The calmness and kindness of how Bail thinks of Brea and how he refers to Brea versus how Mon kind of views and thinks of Perrin. Like when she's coming back from all of this stuff, and she's back on Coruscant, and she's fretting calling her own husband. Like she doesn't want to do it. And she's telling herself like it's not like he even cares that much. Like if you're gone, he's not going to be upset. But yet you still don't want to talk to him. You have to muster up the courage to call your own husband. Whereas like Bail on the parallel is like when he's away from Brea, she's like never far from his mind, and he's yearning to be back with Brea and Leia at this point.
And vice versa.
And
I mean, I do think
I
there's,
love the parallels. With
I do
or
think
the,
there's a little bit of victims of circumstance for the Organas as well. I think you start thinking about how different things would be for them if this was, a completely different situation altogether, But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It also goes to show us that Saw Gerrera is right.
Saw Gerrera is always right.
Lies!
Always right.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, you're like, man, this seems kind of whack what we're doing here. And then at the end, you're like, oh, you should have done it twice. You should have. Yeah.
Saw Gerrera has never done anything wrong in his entire life.
I don't think he's done anything right or wrong. He's just done what he believes.
We've done what he believes that is necessary to fight the Empire. If they're gonna fight dirty, I'm gonna fight dirty. That's been his montage since we met him in the Clone Wars.
Is he's an accelerationist, a violent one.
The thing I like about what Mask of Fear does with Saw is it kind of, it's not even a matter of it's the Empire, and you get this from a couple characters in the book where it's like Empire, Republic, what's the difference here?
Yes.
And Saw is like, it's not because it's the Empire, it's because it's the oppressors. And he's like, if they're oppressing Onderon, they're not just stopping there. That they will go everywhere and continue to do that. And that's what Saw is so against, because of what he saw happen in Isis on Onderon. And he saw it in the Clone Wars. He was raised through it. He lost his sister through it. And it was what the Separatists did to Onderon, and then what the Republic failed to do with Onderon, and then what the Empire came in to correct or to overcorrect on Onderon. And it's like, it's clearly happening everywhere else. I have to stop the tyranny. I have to stop just the power structure that continues to oppress. And that's what he cares about. It's the Empire is just a name to him.
And the thing I really do love about that is it mirrors what we see now. Like, you may not be being oppressed at this moment, but if you're watching them oppress these people, you listen, where are you on the chopping block?
Exactly.
Right? Are you going to ignore it right now and wait till it's in your face? There was a whole And then also finally getting to see the perspective of the Separatists in this story was really good. And having the Separatists put Mon Mothma on trial. She had to go through a trial.
Oh, the way she's like having to push this rebirth act is truly what you get into the eyes of real world politics. You have to be willing to make compromises with people that you don't necessarily agree with. Anything to push a bill forward, you have to do. Well, like that is so real world that I can't even describe how it's like it's crazy.
I had people, I stumbled onto a post I posted about it. And they're saying Yoda is responsible for the fall because he saw the corruption in the Senate and he did nothing. And you're like, read this book and tell me what Yoda would do. What was Yoda supposed to do?
What Yoda's supposed to do? Just take over the Senate? Like take over the Senate? Just like that's what the propaganda was thrown at them at. And it's just that's insane behavior.
Remember that video that we reacted to, Choco? That one guy who said, "Evil prevails when good men do nothing," and the Jedi did nothing.
They did his nothing? Next sentence was like the Jedi. If evil prevails if good men do nothing, and the Jedi didn't do enough. And you're like, so they didn't do nothing. You just. God, you're dumb. Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Or the Jedi weren't willing to go as far as the Sith.
Well, that would make them Sith. Evil. So of course, like what? What are we talking about here?
There's one part when Mon is trying to get support for the bill.
Yes.
And she's I can't remember which senator she's talking to, but she's, basically saying like, we don't want Palpatine to have full control. And the response that he gives her is like,
he's going to have control anyway.
It's not that part. It is, I wish I could remember who it was, but it was basically the response is, you are asking me to turn against the man who ended the war and saved my planet. Or saved my system. You are asking me to turn against the man who, if he did not do what he did, I would not have a system or a family or friends or people to go home to. And you want me to go against that man? Are you crazy? And this is how people felt about Richard Nixon during Vietnam, is he pulled American families back home from a war that they were losing. Despite how horrible of a person he was and how horrible of a leader he was, people felt that because they had a personal connection to him. And you kind of get that a little bit with Donald Trump today. You get, families that were struggling during COVID, and Donald Trump did the stimulus checks, and that was a personal connection to a person in power. Despite how awful that leader is, there will be people that will take these small things, these small victories that these, dictator likes or terrible leaders give them, and just say, I can't turn against this. How does that make me look to my people that I turned against the man who saved us?
So it's interesting that it works that way, Chase, because now people are, not to get too far into it, but now people are regretting what they did. It doesn't matter when it doesn't affect you, but when the moment it affects you, it matters, instead of it mattering when it was happening to people before.
It goes back to what Choco was saying, is like, where are you in line on the chopping block? It's like you were not in line. You were put in a different line that was helpful, and now that line has shifted where the chopping block and the guillotine is getting closer and closer to you, but it's still not there yet. You're just watching other people, get taken out. And what I think a lot of this book does really, really well is humanize every perspective, from the separatists to the people who want the Republic, to the people who want the rebellion, to the people who want the Empire. When you get into the 4040s,
to the
I think they do.
spies who are
Yeah.
watching the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like you get into the 4040s, and the one thing I do love about Alexander Freed is like, okay, the people who were going to say that are pro-empire and they want the empire, the 4040s, we're going to give you an insight of them, but they're still fucking idiots. Like, like, and I love that, and I love that like he kind of plays around with that a little bit, but like. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier about the video I did on the First Order, and it's like we got 2 scenes in the prequels that gave us any insight into the Separatists, and then we get small bits and pieces in the Clone Wars. We get the Bonteri arc in the Clone Wars that gives us a little bit more insight into the Separatist worlds, but we don't really see anything out besides that. And then the Mask of Fear comes in and is like, this is why they did what they did. There were reasons why people wanted to leave the Republic. There were valid reasons they wanted to leave the Republic. And it's like, yes, it was all a ruse. But at the same time, like, these systems were being ignored. These systems weren't being served by the Republic. And they, in some instances, were being hurt by the Republic. And it's such an interesting perspective to have. Yes.
They were preyed upon, and that's what got them, to where we were. But all of the grievances were legitimate, and we can see, nowadays, like, I know people that are still upset about mask mandates because they didn't feel like that. They felt that was overreaching and stuff like that. And you're like, I don't know. It's just interesting.
We're 5 years.
We're
5 years removed, and we're still worried about that. We're still butthurt about that. You know what I mean?
People are still butthurt about that.
So stupid.
But all they wanted was to have someone that would like just do action to make something happen, and that's what Palpatine was for some of these people. People who
he preyed upon,
were willing to do anything.
In the same thing where we have seen since 2016, Palpatine used Count Dooku to prey upon the people who felt unheard.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened with 2024.
Yeah.
It brings me to another highlight in the book where, I mean, it paints a pretty accurate picture of today.
Absolutely.
He wants to be a dictator, and everyone else wants to prove their loyalty in case he gets his wish.
And it's like Benny says in The Mummy, it's better to be at the right hand of the devil than in his path.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
But
literally.
to Chase's point also, it was his damn supporters, imperialist, true believers, and power-hungry sycophants alike, who were running wild, who knew what Palpatine would do, who knew what Palpatine would do, basically, essentially.
Yeah, it's the people who look at what was possible for a post-Republic empire and knowing what the sacrifice of that would look like. What are your individual sacrifices versus the galactic-wide sacrifices? And I think you have a lot of people, specifically people in the Republic, that were like, is my what matters more, my personal sacrifice or the galactic sacrifice? And we see that today of what's more important, your personal sacrifice or your personal gain in some ways versus the sacrifice or gain of the country or the planet. And the people who are much more individualistic, the people like the 4040s, are the ones who fell for or at least conceded to Palpatine's agenda, for lack of a better term.
Absolutely.
And some of that came from separatists. And then you have Sujin, who I think we haven't even touched Sujin at this point, but like,
Not yet.
he's such an interesting character in so many ways, and the way that he views the galaxy and how his cause, he was willing to give everything but the last sliver of his humanity for the cause that he believed in, the separatist cause. And you have that perspective from him, and I like that because what I feel he represents is the person who gave up everything. Like, to me, he is the January 6th rioter that went so far and had that moment to turn around at the very last second and still chose to go in the direction when he had every possible avenue to show him the right way.
Are you calling him Ashley Babbitt?
I like Sujin. I liked the story he told. I liked the fact that he was so damaged and perversed by the separatist like viewpoint that like he couldn't walk into a room without thinking how he was going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
That everyone was an adversary. No one wanted to listen to him. No one cared. And it wasn't until the partisans just sat down and talked to him that he started to understand this. That like, agreeing with people isn't always the end goal. Sometimes it's just understanding them. And he starts to learn this, but he's so far gone and his cybernetics are like essentially keeping him from seeing like the real world, because he just sees everything through the separatist lens, literally the separatist lens. Yep. And he can't see what Mon is trying to tell him and what everyone else is trying to tell him.
What Bale's trying to tell him.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I still have to do what I have to do, you know, like, and then he goes to take out Palpatine and at the wrong moment and the wrong reason, and that's what takes him out. That's
the most fascinating thing from Mon's standpoint, right? We like, for us as the viewer or the viewer, the reader, we know this universe, we know how this plays out, but she's absolutely right in what she does.
If you make a martyr of the Emperor today, it only facilitates that he was right.
Yeah, it only solidifies that he was correct in what he was doing.
And they don't know that he's a Sith Lord. No one knows he's a Sith Lord. It's the other thing.
But that's so right though. Think about that. If Palpatine dies, holy crap, does that change everything?
Mas Amedda gets
Vader probably takes more control than anything. In the background, him and Tarkin.
Mas Amedda is probably second in line.
Yeah.
Which I know that we are jumping around, but oh my God, Mas Amedda talking to Mon.
I hate him.
Holy shit, he is the worst.
You can have your cute little Bill. Oh. It's fine. We don't care.
Fair.
Hey, shout out to Josh Mesa Windu. Saying,
hello,
hey,
Josh.
He read the book too.
Welcome. Thanks for joining.
No, but like, it's so defeating.
What a slimy blue piece of fuck.
It's just like, but like, think about that. Think about that from the real world perspective. That is happening before our very eyes. With everything in this world, with everything that happens here, at least in the United States, that's what's happening. Reality is setting in.
Yeah. That's why I said that
and
quote,
it's scary.
That quote about the loyalists and the sycophants. Like, Trump's not. Trump is nothing without all the people that believe his lies.
Yeah.
Without the people that are running with his agenda, and the people who are like willfully ignoring the effects of tariffs and stuff like that, and
the people who are willing to accept the false narratives and not willing to just dig a little bit deeper and take a second of insight. Like, that's the most dangerous part of any dictator, not just Trump. Any dictator.
The funniest that was, as someone that's been working in finance for, I don't know, past 6 years, watching what's happening with these tariffs and also seeing people be like, well, yeah, it's good because of this. And then like, he's like, oh, we're putting a pause on it. He's like, well, that's good because it's the art of the deal. He's actually not pausing it. Well, that's good because, and you're you listen,
they're jumping through so many. They just jump through so many hoops to rectify, not even to rectify, to solidify what he's doing. And I've always said this. No, this is what this is.
And people like, it makes Yeah.
Yeah,
So the way I tell my parents, like how I explain, like my parents are like they know Star Wars, like they get it, but like when I talk to my mom, I'm like, Mom, Trump is just a dumber Palpatine. Like he is just the face. He's not as he has like those tendencies
no,
that
he's
Palpatine has.
Masameda.
Yeah, he's Masameda.
Elon Musk is Palpatine.
If anything. Yeah, exactly. And it's like
Is the Cybertruck the Death Star?
yeah.
It blows up if you poke it the wrong way.
Elon Musk has to be Vader because like Palpatine comes into power, and then Vader shows up, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy? What is his job?"
That's true.
He's not even. Why does he have authority here? And they're like, he just stands in the back, and I like him.
and to the people,
Elon Musk, he came out with a red chainsaw. Like,
and to the
That's
people who
crazy.
knew Vader was Anakin or Anakin fans, they have the same sticker. It was like, I was a fan before he went crazy. I was like, I bought this before he went crazy.
It does, like, reading the pages, like, I would suggest this book to my mother, who is very much like into like reading political stuff, is into this stuff. It's like this is the closest thing that I can get her into reading a Star Wars book. It would be this one, because it is so real. Like when we think of Star Wars, we think of a silly little galaxy where things are made up. Absolutely not. After Andor came out, that's when it really started to be like, hey, we're making sure that everybody remembers that the Empire is terrible. And it's interesting to me.
Choco, I want your...
Also, I do want to reiterate that when writing this book, they weren't saying, well, what is Trump doing? We're gonna put that in the book. That's
No,
not
it
what-
just
it takes
they
a long
wrote
time
the
to write a
book and they said they wrote the book and saying, how do fascist dictatorships come into power? What are the steps? What do
Yes.
they need to do? How do they take over the media? How do they do this and that? And started writing that. And the similarities that we notice
yep.
should scare us.
The
because-
state,
they should.
the state-sponsored news feeds that were changing, and Mon is like, there's a point where she's like walking around somewhere and she sees like the state-sponsored stuff, and she's like, this wasn't how it used to be, and they're showing a younger version of Palpatine, right?
Yes.
Before him and Mace Windu, went to blows.
I'm sure he was 6'3" and 220 pounds.
Right. It's why. Like, I know people love to make fun of it. There is a reason that Donald Trump wears that much makeup. There is a very specific reason. It's not a self-conscious thing. It is a thing of power. It is like
forced concealment.
Yeah. It's if you've seen the pictures of Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, like he does not look well. And so he has to wear this mask. And remember, oppression is the mask of fear. And so he has to wear this mask to look like
alive.
He has to put on the face that his followers believe he has. And Palpatine does the exact same thing. His propaganda shows him as Supreme Chancellor, not as Emperor. And that's super important because like the state-sponsored media and propaganda, the interrogations and the specificity, like what we talked about earlier, it's like when Mon is initially released from her cell and they say, we can pull you back in here at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Benevolent governments do not say that. They do not do that. People do not disappear under a benevolent benevolent government. It only happens under dictatorships. And that's what we're seeing in the United States today, with multiple people being pulled off the street without due process, like doing that to a political rival. And we're seeing this today. We know where the Associated Press is being barred simply for not agreeing with the state's renaming of the Gulf of Mexico. And it's like having like Mon Mothma having to sign, Mon Mothma and Bail having to sign oaths of loyalty to the emperor to stay in their positions without persecution is exactly what we're seeing today. And it's just one of those things. It was funny, like I was reading it alongside with Haley for most of it, and like you had to stop at some point because it was just every other paragraph it was hitting too close to home. And then you're just like you said, they weren't watching the news and just jotting it down. This is the playbook. This is how it happens, and has happened over and over again in history, when we're just watching it unfold again now right in front of our eyes in our home. And that's why it hits so hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're like, what did Mussolini do? What did Hitler do?
Yeah.
What you know?
What? How does fascism start? Literally, it's literally they took the playbook from real world
who
stuff.
look like Palpatine.
Exactly.
Except Trump does the almost
Well, it starts
impossible
with-
thing of looking worse than Palpatine.
It starts with identifying an other, and they're actually the cause of your problems. And they're the ones that are terrorizing things, and they're the bad ones. And you just keep going like that, and that is the chopping block. You know, you go with the easiest targets first. You know, Hitler targeted the trans community first, because that was the simplest and smallest community, and you keep moving up the block until people are so scared to do anything or to say anything, so that they won't be next. And they're always gonna be next.
Yeah, there's never gonna be a never ending. It's a never ending cycle.
It will, the breaking point, you know, that you will eventually get to, that people don't think, is because they think it's, you know, it's criminals. Get the criminals out. Well, everyone can get behind getting criminals out. We don't want criminals in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our communities. That's easy. Oh, get the people who could be associated with criminals. Okay, that's a wider net we're casting. And then it can be, get the people who are harming our communities through their speech. That's a little bit weird. And then it just becomes, do you agree wholeheartedly with everything that your leader is saying, yes or no? If the answer is no, you may not see the light of day again. And it isn't race, it isn't gender, it isn't sexuality, it isn't intellect. It is, are you loyal? It doesn't matter if you're a man, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a white man. If you look like me, you look like Luke, it doesn't matter. If we do not swear loyalty under the decree of loyalty, we go bye-bye. Yeah. It's just, you're right, it's the chopping block that gets more and more and more specific as it goes down, until there is no one left except for the people who are meant to be in power.
Yep.
Jaybird says Trump is just stealing his fascism from the best Star Wars book, which is a great segue to announce our partnership with Get Free, who is doing Project Fulcrum. Basically, every week as we cover Andor Season 2, they'll be sending out snippets from Nemik's Manifesto, a newsletter, and we'll be able to talk about each passage as each arc comes out for Andor Season 2. You can follow them on the socials here at getfree_MVMT, or just go to bit.ly/Project Fulcrum and sign up for that newsletter as well. That's gonna be
I wanna get free. I wanna get free. Sorry, that's
is that Callus?
I believe...
God damn it! God damn it!
That's Hera, Callus, Cassian, Ahsoka, and Leia, right?
Oh, god damn it!
Yes.
God damn it!
Well, looks like you're
Don't
gonna
show,
get your
don't show my
fiancé.
wife that. Don't show my wife that.
Anyways, follow them on the socials. Join the newsletter. Get your weekly dose of Nemik's Manifesto as we cover.
Are they sending out physicalized? They're sending out physicalized bits. Is that right, or
I think
digital?
It's digital.
Okay.
You just sign up on I think it's like an email list.
All right.
But
yeah,
the
the
message behind their newsletter, aside from Nemik's Manifesto, is to teach people how to fight against and recognize fascism. And it seemed like a great segue to insert that as we talk about fascism It's repeats through history and how these kind of telltale signs can be spotted, and how we can resist. You know, AOC and Bernie is doing fight the oligarchy, and we definitely need to fight fascism as well.
We definitely do. Because those two, in my opinion, in the situation that we are in the United States, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, one will lead to the other because it is just an ultimate consolidation of power, and wealth to them is equal to power, and they go hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, it's this book in so many ways. Like, there's so many like also fun little bits in this book. It's not like all down and dreary. There are like good moments in there. I was joking as I was reading. I was like, "Is this the start of the Freed connected universe?" Because of like all the little tie-ins, like the Cerberon system and stuff like that. And I was like, I see.
To answer your question, yes.
Yeah, no, like it's a fun book. It's one of the things that I have struggled with since I was very young when it comes to Star Wars novels. Is as much as I love them, there is an almost repetitive nature of we have to stuff in as many action sequences as we can into these books, even when they feel unnecessary. And this book has 2, like 2.5 if you count Mon and Sujin. Like you have the final thing at Io de Joritz, and you have the heist with the first heist with the partisans where Sujin kills one of the partisans without telling anyone, and that is essentially it.
Those are some of the best parts, though.
They're good parts.
The story with Sujin as well is one of my favorite things about the book. It's one of my favorite things to write about. What we call in games war and roses.
Hey, Pep. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I'm seeing a SWTOR update.
Talking about SWTOR.
Yes.
What did you see that was Pep though?
Oh, I didn't know whether that was a new thing or not.
I mean,
Whoa.
yeah, Broadsword took over and they're still updating it.
There is more story in there that I would like to play. I do need.
There's story in there that we haven't even. Legacy of the Sith.
I love I just opened up the Star Wars chat and they're saying woke, and I'm like, y'all didn't know that there was girls kissing girls in SWTOR since day one?
I mean, you could play a girl and kiss a girl in day one of SWTOR. But yeah, like the story with Sujin, like the broken home, all of the things that we call war and roses.
Broken home. Sorry.
It's stuff that it's narratives that I like to write about when I do quests, you know, because a lot of the missions and quests we play in games is going to war, but what happens afterwards? That's why there's, you know, beyond the end, like all of these anime that's coming out that's focused on the post-mortem of things rather than the lead up and the climax. That's what makes this book special. This is seemingly after the climax of Order 66, and so what are they dealing with? What's the post-action report?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they go from here?
Yeah, it's these stories to me are always very interesting. It's what does make me excited for Starfighter is what is this post-war story they're going to tell with these pilots, and it is interesting to see this political side where most of the drama, most of the tension in Mask of Fear is just through the dialogue. It is, and it's what Alexander Freed is so good at, is just character relationships and how people interact and getting into the minds of different people and getting you to feel for and empathize with other people, even if it's a different perspective. And he's just so good at that. And I'm really excited for the next 2 books. Even though he's not writing the next 2 books, I'm really excited to read and see where they go and take this concept.
Who's writing the next book?
I don't know.
I don't think it's
he's
been
just writing the
announced.
first one. I know that. I think Rebecca Roanhorse is writing one of them, and I might be wrong about that.
Okay. I mean, I really did enjoy her book that really tied together the whole galaxy.
Resistance Reborn.
Resistance Reborn, yeah.
So Malik says, Choco, your ADHD is showing. Damn, that's a really good sell for me. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm glad you know what? I'm glad that most of what we talked about, because of how this book is written and how its many facets are tied up in ambiguity, we didn't really spoil much.
Yeah.
No, not a whole ton.
There's not a lot to spoil. You know kind of what happens within this time frame. You just don't get the experiences of what it was like the months after the start of the Empire. And to clarify, Rebecca Roanhorse is writing the second book, and Fran Wilde, who wrote No Contingency in From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi, is writing the third book.
That's a good one.
Okay.
So
also, Malik, sure, my ADHD is showing. However, I'm always pulling up tabs and stuff in case the conversation goes certain directions. So whenever you guys see me do that, it's not because I'm looking at something in the moment, but like I got one tab up that's like Umberto Eco's list of the 12 characteristics of fascism, and then I have like, you know what I mean, like all this stuff.
Yeah, I think he was referring to you singing "Broken Home" while I was.
Oh,
so
Broken Home.
So what I want to see from this, what I started with at the beginning of this podcast episode. This is just me being selfish. I want to see more of the path. And I think Alexander Freed set up Bail being so for the Jedi, and he still is part of that. It's less and less when we get to Kenobi. He knows that he can't ever contact him, but there are moments after
Quinlan Voss.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Hey, no, but in all seriousness, Pep, though, like think about it. How does the path function? Like the way it functions is not. It doesn't. It's too risky. They need someone with funds that is going to be able to make these connections to worlds that they aren't able to get to.
Yeah, it needs an Ozark basically. It needs infrastructure.
That's Brea right there. Brea
exactly.
is able to launder whatever she needs to. You know, the one person though that I do really, really need to be associated with the path, Jedi Master Kelleran Beck.
Yes.
There's no one more suited to taking care of and leading these kids.
He's one of the first
territory than Kelleran Beck.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the founding members.
Yeah,
like the next book is literally like Brea is like I found two people that would be perfect to lead the path, and it's just Quinlan.
It's
Kelleran. I
feel like it makes more sense with Maskafir and like how Kenobi kind of ended, where it's like Obi-Wan would have had to have told Bail about the path. There's no way that he wouldn't have, because he knows Bail has the capability of helping these people.
I listen, nowadays I'm just gonna be obsessed with that, because now I need a buddy cop.
Sorry.
Kelleran Beck and Quinlan Voss, where Kelleran Beck is like the surrogate father for all these kids, and Quinlan Voss is like not family friendly, but the kids love him because he's like the drunk uncle.
Yeah.
You know, and like I feel like it would play very well off of each other.
Most likely it won't go that way because it's going to be centered still around these three main characters. But I think it would be an interesting little thing that would be nice to see. because people have been asking about it ever since Kenobi and Jedi Survivor. What's going on with that? Because I feel like there's a lot of story that can be told within that, and you can interweave it like with anything with Star Wars. You interweave it however it works. Like you can make it work if it serves the story, though. And if it doesn't serve the story, then it shouldn't be in there. That should be its own separate thing.
I think it would serve the story. Really.
I think it would too, because if you don't set up Bail being so hellbent and thinking about Bail being so committed to the Jedi makes me makes me look at the shot of him in Revenge of the Sith, where he's like, "Oh my God, the temple's on fire!" Like when he goes to the Jedi Temple, that now is more devastating. It's just so heartbreaking because he believes so much in the cause and what the Jedi stood for, that seeing them being cut down, like that shattered him.
I mean,
that shattered him.
One of the people he saw was a kid, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. But it still makes me laugh.
That's crazy.
The way he showed up, and then the troopers was like, "Get back in your car." He's like, "Oh, sorry."
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.
Yeah, it's time for you to leave.
You're right. Yeah. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. I'm not going to be a casualty.
The kid shows up and he's like, "No." Well, if we haven't spoiled anything and you're still watching, definitely pick up Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear by Alexander Freed. It's a great book. I mean,
absolutely.
Books is where Star Wars is at. You know, it's
Agreed.
peak Star Wars. So if you're looking for something to get into, you could get into this too, because it is.
Those Fortnite kids can't read.
Well, thankfully, that's fortunate. You know, because we don't want people who can't read talking.
Those
about
kids
books.
could read. They'd be very upset with you.
They can't read. They can't read so much that they complain about the sister 2 years after she was introduced.
Yes.
Yeah. Just real quick, something that is out now that we actually didn't touch upon was the Industrial Light and Magic Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I need to watch that.
And one of the things that got me really excited was seeing how much love they were giving to our boy Kelleran Beck, a.k.a. Jar Jar Binks, because what he truly did was unheard of at the time.
Yep.
He was the first fully CG character. This is before Golem. This is before, you know.
Yeah.
He
paved the way for motion capture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one had any idea of what is this? How exactly does this translate? Like, pioneering something like that. And the best part is, I still look at him and I don't see him. I see Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks, yeah.
And that is such an amazing thing, you know?
Well, and also think about this, though, too, Brandon. Like, the Gollum and Jar Jar Binks were essentially at the same time. They both were doing it. Like, Phantom Menace came out before Two Towers did. But what PJ saw well, wait, hold on.
PJ?
No.
You know him like that?
No. Oh, Jesus. Well, that's what we called him. That's what they call him in the Tolkien community. Sorry.
I mean, Fellowship came out a year after.
Yeah, a year after.
Phantom, but the movies were in development way before that.
Well, we're in development. They were shooting at the same time, so it doesn't really surprise me that it was Jar Jar and then Gollum, because it's like Peter Jackson saw that and was like, you know, a lot of people hate that, but that's actually genius. Like those two guys saw it before we knew it was cool, and I think that's the most fascinating thing.
Yeah.
And then the third was Sam Witwer.
Yep.
And then Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah, them thumbs.
All right, we're officially in our lore section. So if anybody in the chat, or if you guys want to talk about anything in the lore of Star Wars, or if we don't have anything to talk about, we can go to our bonus and just shoot the shit for the next 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, can we talk about the Revenge of the Sith novelization hardcover and the depictions? That shit is full of lore. I love that. I cannot
Not
wait to get
only
my hands
that,
on that.
But we got annotations from Master
Yes!
Silver, in it as well. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, that is worth all of the $60 for sure.
So is this I am unaware of the news about this, but is this, are we getting a canon novelization or is this just a reprint?
I think it's just a reprint.
It's a reprint, but
it's
the canonicity of it is nebulous at best.
it's not really confirmed or denied that it's not part of canon, or it's left
Well,
up
it is because
to
they said, Lucasfilm said entirely that the parts that line up with the movie in the novelization is canon.
Hey, shout out to
parts
Young
that
who says
don't
hi
are
from
non-canon.
Celebration. Hello, Young.
Hi, Young.
Hello.
Hope you have an
Hello.
amazing time. Are you cosplaying today? If so, who?
Yeah.
This is something that has like made me a little nervous ever since the first season of Visions of
Ooh, Visions talk.
it, not that it was like said like for sure, but it very much felt like the mentality was that everything moving forward after the Disney acquisition was going to be canon, and they've kind of, I mean, for the most part, it was 100% right. Like everything they put out has been canon, but then you have stuff like Visions, and now something like this edition of Revenge of the Sith is like parts of it are canon, parts of it are not. And it's just some of these things that have been happening where it's like, ooh, this is blurring the line between canon and not Legends, but just non-canon. And I wish they would just say like, hey, if we're releasing it, it's canon.
Well,
There you go.
they explicitly said as part of that announcement that, in addition to that, unless
Yeah.
we explicitly say it's not canon, it is canon. With the Revenge of the Sith novelization, the reason it is so nebulous is because it is partly depicting what has been depicted on screen. That's why they said the things that line up with the movie are canon and the things that aren't are non-canon.
Which is hard to do because and this is gonna sound weird, being saying like knowing that I love Revenge of the Sith as a movie, it is very flawed. I'm the first one to admit that, but this book literally cements that. Like what we should have seen on screen should have been a 3-hour movie. We should have just gotten Matthew Stover writing the script for Revenge of the Sith, and there you go. Make it a 3-hour cut.
I mean, it's not fair though, because like
No, it's not fair.
it's like having a second chance to make the same movie, but with infinite time. You know
George
what I mean?
Lucas loves that. What are you talking about?
I do at some point want to hear Chase go full in on that movie. I need it in my
Well,
veins.
he hasn't read. They haven't read.
I've never
that
read
book.
the Matthew Stover
No,
novel.
You need
I
it
know,
in your
and that's
loins?
why. But I mean, Chase has spoken about tearing apart that film in ways that people don't normally hear or are aware of, and I want to hear it. I need to hear it.
One day.
Yeah.
A whole episode.
Let's do it.
They got.
I
I
think
talked to Luke
think
about
people
it, and I
don't
talked to
talk-
JJ about it. And Luke and JJ, I think, had equal amounts of frustration with me because I was making all the good points.
about the flaws with Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
It's a flawed movie. I'm the first one to admit it, but
The first half of that movie is a lot worse than most people give it credit for.
yes, it's junky. It's like you move from one thing to the next. But
Again,
even the makers of the film,
yes,
like when you watch the DVD commentary, once
Yeah.
you hit the halfway point, they're like, okay, so I think we didn't make any flaws from this point on. They literally say that. Like, the rest of this movie is really good, is what they say.
what I'm interested in knowing is how many fans today that still rank it so high have seen it recently or are just riding on the coattails of nostalgia.
I think a lot of people watch it fairly regularly. Have they sat down critically to watch it? No. But to put it on is like, I think a lot of these people, they probably like what we do is like, every year you go through most of the Star Wars movies, just because it's fun to just watch all of them again. I think they watch it, but I think they go through the motions of visiting Revenge of the Sith again, but they don't take the time to analyze what's actually going on screen in a way that they never have, because they probably watched the movie when they were younger than 10.
And this is what I'm looking forward to seeing next week. I put a joke on my personal Instagram, like it was the picture of the
Fly
kid
down
in
and watch it with
2005.
us.
Dude, that is not in the egg and fund right now.
Listen, write it off. I'm telling you.
And like in my thing is, it's like I really cannot wait to just look at that film in the big screen again and just feel like, wow, I'm back to being 10 years old again. Like it's a way these movies were. This movie was particularly my Star Wars. The prequel trilogy was my Star Wars, which is really sad.
It just makes me think
that.
of.
But
It just makes me think of when during DYAD when we saw Phantom Menace again, and Choco was falling asleep. I'm like, yeah, he hates this movie.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, this movie was actually worse than I remember. But
I love it. I love it. I love Revenge of the Sith.
I love Phantom Menace. Its pacing is wild and
It is wild.
and you forget exactly how much so until you are in a setting where you are like, I feel like the theater is it is the stage, right? It's not you're on your couch and if you get bored you're on your phone, you know what I mean, or you get up, you pause it, you take a nap or whatever. I'll finish this later. There's none of that. And it's a different thing when you're actually just writing it out like that. Yeah, I fell asleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go see Revenge of the Sith when it's back in theaters. Like, I'm excited to do that. Like, it's Star Wars back in the theaters. I'll always take the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna see it with Con.
Yeah,
Right.
Atlantis and I are gonna go see it.
That sounds fun. You guys should come up to Seattle and watch it with me and Haley. That sounds way better.
See, the thing is,
I would. I want to visit Seattle.
You should.
Hey, I came up to ECC. See,
I wasn't there yet. Doesn't count.
I mean, it counts with Haley. I saw Haley and Harith.
Doesn't count.
I saw
Definitely
Gray.
doesn't count.
It counts, man. But also, there's a lot of people down here in SoCal.
Yeah.
The problem is, out of everyone that I invited to this thing, everyone's in Japan.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Con was like, "Yeah, let's get a whole large group together." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Hey, Choco, you down?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." Right.
We got space in my apartment. Like, you don't have to get a hotel. That's all I'm saying.
Damn, that is a real offer, Chase.
But what if I want to sleep with you?
Damn.
I can kick Haley out. You think I won't?
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm gonna be like, yo, Haley, you sleeping on the couch? Me and Brandon, nuts to butts.
We gotta do a reverse spoon and do the. You know, what is that called?
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know when they have the two spoons.
Listen, I
and
just
they
want to be
do
your
the percussion?
jetpack, all right?
Spoons? Are you just talking about spoons?
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
don't know
sounds
what
great.
it's called.
You gotta play my flight simulator. we got a good time here in Seattle.
We gotta blast some Danger Zone.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, I guess it's just called musical spoons.
Danger zone.
But no, like I definitely want to get back down to California at some point. Especially if like there's doing something big for the 50th anniversary. Would love to go down there. But yes, you guys are always
My
welcome
sister's up in
the
Seattle,
PNW.
so we'll make a trip out of it.
Yeah. SakuraCon's coming up.
I don't know.
Garugamash.
I know SakuraCon.
No, whatever.
Oh, jeez, Louise. All right.
Fucking weeaboo.
I will say.
I know Naruto.
He won't even say croissant. He says croissant.
Yeah, I do.
Croissant. Croissant. I will
And
say.
then
Coruscant.
I don't even say. I say Greg's sausage roll. You gotta inherit, like Harith.
I am so confused on what's happening right now. That's okay.
but
What
this
are you confused about, Tama?
Confused while we're doing British accents.
It's Tuesday.
The American mind could never.
Tuesday.
Isn't it?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. I hope Bale's watching this right
I
now.
was born
No, he's
in
passed the
Woolwich.
fuck out. I am convinced that like that boy doesn't actually go to sleep as
You just
late as
said
he
was
says he
passed
does.
out.
Yeah, no, he's like, oh, it's getting late for me. I'm like, I have a feeling this time discrepancy is not as bad as you're saying. It's probably like 8 p.m. there, and you're just like, oh, I'm sleepy. I
Yeah.
don't believe him. I don't believe anything that man says. But no, like, yeah, it would be nice at some point. I mean, we obviously have like weddings going on, but there's, it'd be nice to get other things organized at some point during this year. Would be nice. I need to save money, but I want to see friends.
There's no price on friendship.
There's not.
By the way,
Also,
Joe,
my
you owe me
wife
$17.
really wants to meet everyone, but they but something always happens every time she tries to. I don't know how it works out.
Oh. Yeah. I would like to meet Mrs. Choco. That'd be fun.
Plot twist. Brandon's not married. Brandon.
yeah. Plot twist.
My wife's in Canada right now.
It's just me in a wig.
I've never seen them in the same room at the same time. Actually, no, I've hung out with both of them. Unless that was a hired actress.
No, he's just moving back and forth really fast.
He's the Flash.
By the way, I love when the Flash does that, and there's like multiple, and they're doing different things, and you're like, are you really pretending to run 1,000 times with all these people? Like, just do the stuff you need to do. Don't pantomime doing the run up to do it. It's weird.
Spooky Kitty says no price on friendship, but if you give me $1,000, your odds are way higher.
That's
mean,
a
yeah.
good point. It's a good point.
It's the same thing as saying I won't say no to money.
Yeah. That's fair.
Would I be your friend without money? Sure. Would I be your friend if you gave me money? Sure.
Sure.
Would I be
Your
your
odds
friend if
don't
I didn't
change
like
here.
you and you gave me money?
So it's just reminiscent of being like 6 years old, and you're like, well, I'm not your friend anymore.
You don't understand how real that still is at the age of 30.
Jay Bird says, good. Let the money flow through you.
Oh, one thing. Chris is texting me. Said that the first episode is beautiful.
I mean, we didn't need that
Like-
confirmation.
Bix is in it, so
Yes.
It's stunning.
Yes,
Nothing.
Bix is stunning.
Nothing. Nothing
Shout out to
groundbreaking.
Andrea.
We know.
And shout out to Dedra. I hope you see the light soon.
Maybe.
Doesn't sound like she's going to. Everything that the actor's been saying is very, very not good.
Listen,
Very much sounding like she's
Hey,
not
if
going to make that.
Anakin can
I can
figure it
hope.
out.
I can hope.
If that troublesome little boy can figure it out, so can Dedramiro.
Listen, Darth Choco can show her the dark.
Oh my god. All right. Well.
Are you on with Dedra now? Can I move back to Bix?
No. You have that draft.
Wow.
That's all you.
Wow. Just trading off the. Wow, guys, come on.
Listen.
Listen.
Can't say that. Nope.
Anyway.
What?
We're all going to Star Wars Celebration 2027, though, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like for sure thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
sure.
cool. Because honestly, and this is gonna sound so bad, I absolutely, the FOMO for me is so bad. So
It's not terrible.
bad.
It's hitting me more than I thought it would.
Yes.
Watching it with Haley, like watching the Star Wars live stage with Haley last night after we got off of the podcast last night, I was like, oh, I do wish I were there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, more
I'm
so
not
because
so
I
much
wanted to
getting-
go back to Japan. You know.
And that's kind of my thing. It's not so much FOMO with me. It's like I would love to be in Japan with these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I would like. I don't know. I almost, well, it feels weird to go to a place like Japan and go to a con. You know what
and
I mean?
only go to a con. Yeah. That's fair.
Which brings me to my we should make a take a Japan trip just as friends and just go there.
I would love to. It's so expensive.
It is.
Yeah, but it's less expensive having tied a con to it. If you think about it,
if I think about it, the thing that was keeping me from going to Japan was not the price of the convention.
yeah, it's
the-
well, the thing is, and
The
I'll
plane
help- and I'll-
tickets, the hotel.
and I'll
I
help
don't know
you
anyone
out with
there.
it. If we do plan a Japan trip, is going to the places the tourists don't go,
Sure.
because you go
I
to
do want to go to Kyoto and I want to go to Hiroshima.
you go to Chiba for celebration. You're gonna go to all of the hotels that all the tourists go to. The prices are gonna get jacked up.
I want a pod hotel.
If you go to a pod hotel,
Yeah.
I want to go to one
Or-
of those. I want to go to one of those private internet cafes where you give you
Exactly.
tissue paper at the computer booth.
Are you just talking about the place that that Cassian went into in episode 1 of season 1?
no, literally, you spend about $600 on the JR pass. You go to a like a ryokan that is like 5 miles away from any tourist attraction, and it's like $60 a night. It's that reasonable outside of tourist attractions, you know.
Yeah. I would love to. I'd want to brush up on some Japanese before I went, so I didn't feel too touristy. But it's something I would like to do at some point. I know Haley wants to go, so it's.
I mean,
it's
my
something
thing
I
is,
want to
I
do.
would like to.
Nihongo Benkyou
My
shimasu.
approach is probably stupid to y'all, but I'd like to plan 2 trips. You know, I want to do something like I don't know, maybe even like an Asian cruise where you hit all of those spots, and you'll hit the touristy stuff, but you'll see what areas there are, you'll see what's cool, what's not, and then you can plan another trip in the future to go do that one spot and just live there.
Make sure you hit
You know what I mean?
all lady boys.
Have you ever tried backpacking through Southeast Asia? You can't.
I was
there's
backpacking
no
through
land.
Mount Tipidayu.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Luke.
It's the $2,000 plane ticket. I don't know. I don't know where you're flying with, Harris.
The way he just said that nonchalantly, nobody caught it but me. I just like,
So, Harith, I don't know where you're getting those plane tickets, but before I got laid off, I actually had booked a flight for $850 to Japan.
Round trip.
Yeah.
damn, that's pretty good.
Not terrible.
That's not
Not
terrible.
There's
cheap.
a stopover on not Taiwan, Singapore, but
Ooh, Singapore would be fun.
Singapore has a great airport. Then I got laid off and I was like, I has my money back, please.
Yeah, that's tough.
No, you just gotta. I mean, flying to Asia can be the cheapest thing if you are interested in seeing multiple places. If you really, really just want to go direct to Japan or any of those locations, it will cost a lot.
I just want to
Right?
see where My Hero Academia was made.
Newsflash, it's not real. But
You take that
but
back.
you can see where Bleach was filmed. That place
Oh,
is real.
I want to know what's going on in Shibuya.
You can go to Shibuya. You know what? I want to
shit.
plan a trip to Japan so that we're in Shibuya at the time that Han and everybody else is drifting through the cross section, and we all get to part the sea of people like Moses and
And then die in fiery
Yes.
death, supposedly. Almost immediately after.
That
no.
sounds great.
The original plan too was to visit the theme park with Hokage Mountain and Godzilla Land. All that.
Hokage Mountain?
I always wanted to see the life-size Gundam, but it's been dismantled. So
Hokage Mountain, yeah, they have a theme park where they have like a Mount Rushmore mountain with the Hokages carved on it.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. Go. You can go
I've
to
always
Cronulla.
wanted the Square Madden.
Square Martin. But you can.
all right, one day we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
The same day you start playing Star Citizen, Pat.
And the day that I become a millionaire,
The day
we're
I
gonna be
start,
waiting a
become a
long time.
millionaire.
if you can help me manifest it, the day I start playing Star Citizen is this day. As I say this under my breath, is the day I start working for Blizzard. So manifest that. Have that in your mind.
Sure, there's a free fly weekend going on right now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Like I
Listen,
said,
I
I'm
watch
waiting for it next week.
I watch my girl smash these videos, and I'm like, I want to soar through the skies like that. That looks
You could.
What a
Cal is playing right now. We both just bought new mining ships. AJ, I think, is doing the free weekend with us. So this is the weekend to hop in if you want to hop in.
I'm waiting for the decision. That's all I'm gonna say. Once
I'll
that
buy you
decision,
a
that's why
starter
I'm
ship.
asking you guys to help me manifest it because
manifesting.
All right.
Manifesting.
I actually just got a ship. Well, not just got a ship, but I do have a ship. So yeah. No,
All right.
it's there. It's installed. I think.
Let's fly. Let's fly.
it's clear skies.
We could fly through the clear skies. They have an X-wing. They have
Well,
a TIE
that's-
fighter.
That's Star Wars lingo.
They got the Millennium Falcon.
Right? You gotta do the
Gotta
clear
know.
skies.
They got Star
so the-
Destroyers. So
So does clear
Indeed.
skies also apply to space? Is there fire in space? Is there skies?
no,
Space be
Disney
clear?
made fire woke.
Is space truly clear?
Fire is just a metaphor for the transgender
We made a long way.
agenda.
Yeah. Because they're all flaming.
Oh my god. Okay.
Jeez, how far we've fallen.
Yeah, no shit.
I got nothing else. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that's about it. I think we've covered all the bits and pieces. You know.
This is correct. And
Yep.
we are just about at the time stamp of our usual ending. So I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to our good friend Chase, Forward into the Dawn, Forward into the Black Dawn.
Forward into the dong.
Into the Dawn.
Backward into the dong.
Forward
I'ma
into
get it
Choco's
up
dong.
all in your veg with my tail.
Darth nuts to butts. Choco.
That's what they call me.
That's
Oh
terrible.
man. Freakish flashbacks to OnlyFans video.
Oh yeah. Oh
Uh,
god.
You guys have
That's a
OnlyFans?
throwback.
Thank you to Jedi Master Eggs or Luke or Tamar from Rings of Power for joining us.
God damn it. Let that die.
No, it's not gonna die. You have an emote in chat.
Damn it.
I forget what it was. Is
Ha!
it Tamar? No, Tamale comes up. Never mind. This stream got weird. I know.
It happens when I'm on.
But we can bring it back.
I
on
didn't
rails.
pull out a guitar.
We can get back on rails and say Padme Amidala or Natalie Portman.
Smash.
Back
The
on
way they
rails.
talk about Padme and Mask of Fear
Oh, it's
is
so good.
beautifully handled.
Yes, it was.
I love how they talked about her, and I think that's
Paris says I
a
can pull out a
good-
guitar as well. How many of us can pull out a guitar?
Oh god. Here we go.
I pull out my wizard hat and coat. No.
I pull out my.
Okay. Thank you.
This was a wonderful discussion on Mask of Fear, and of course, a discussion on all of the news coming out of Celebration Day 1. Day 2 has just started about an hour and 50 minutes ago. Nothing has gone on except for, people have seen Andor, the first episode. They got to see Cal Kestis have a mullet on an action figure, some new Death Trooper masks. There is the Beyond Victory that they're showing off too, that mixed reality set from Meta. I've played.
Oh yeah, the pod racer thing.
I've played some of their stuff on Meta. I haven't played too much of it because I'm not really a huge VR person, but
I like VR.
it's fun. It's incredibly high fidelity and actually feels like you're there. But do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Pick up Mask of Fear, read it, support more of the publishing side of Star Wars.
Yes. Agreed.
And as much as I love the shows, the movies, the games, like the books do have the most interesting and complex stories out there. So
I would agree.
Facts.
I would say tune in for our stream tomorrow, because we're gonna have a lot of people on talking about obviously Andor, Ahsoka, and everything, getting everybody's thoughts on day 1 and day 2. That's gonna be at 7 p.m. EST. Mason Window will be there, JJ will be there, Tia will be there, Chase, me, Choco, and many more. So come hang out with us at the Pod Ones tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST.
Yeah.
Good night, Battle Pass.
And yeah, just keep loving Star Wars. You know what I mean? There were some very beautiful words that we had from both Dave Filoni and from Ahmed Best about, like, listen, there's people that will try to divide us. It's not necessary. Just love Star Wars. Focus on what you love, and we're all chilling. It's wonderful.
That Imperial
Best time to
Death
be a Star
Trooper
Wars
helmet
fan.
looks sick. Sorry, I just saw the Imperial Death Trooper.
Shout out to
that.
Charles Olsen on TikTok. Now this is the alt-right podcast I've always wanted. I mean, if you're talking about being right, yeah, we're always right. Spooky Kitty says, "Love y'all. We'll love you too. Till next time. Next Tuesday. Well, Tuesday we're not being live, but Andor. The first arc will be out, and we will toil to record that reaction. But you can watch it.
So glad
when
we're
it
not doing
drops.
reactions.
Well, I'm glad we're not doing live reactions because
Yeah.
that'd be a long stream.
Yes, it would be.
But again, Go to bit.ly/Project Fulcrum to join the newsletter to get your Nemix Manifesto feed every week as we cover Mandor Andor Season 2. And get your and read up on your fascism. Read up on ways to rise up and fight against the orange garks. But that's it. On to the next one.
For Light for Life.
We are all waiting for Dedra to be redeemed.
Yeah. May the Star Wars celebration be with you always.